Fans, the special program was held recognizing 58 individuals of the inaugural class of the Wall of Honor. All are an integral part of the Brewers' rich legacy. The Wall of Honor is a complement to the Miller Park Walk of Fame and the statues that grace the ballpark plaza. Special plaques are on display as a tribute to the contributions and commitment of these 58 individuals to the Milwaukee Brewers organization and to its fans. Tonight, we are privileged to have 39 of them with us, along with another 5 who are represented by family members. Unfortunately, 14 were unable to join us or have family representation because of previous obligations, with some coaching, managing, and scouting for other major league teams. At the ceremony today, each honoree received a replica of their plaque. The Wall of Honor is open for fans to view, and the Brewers plan to add to this wonderful display in the near future. Fame outfielder Hammer and Hank Aaron. Pitcher Jerry Augustine. Infielder Sal Bando. Outfielder Johnny Briggs. Pitcher Bill Castro. Pitcher Jim Colborn. Outfielder Sixto Loscano. Outfielder Dave May, represented by Maxine May and Danae May. Infielder Don Money. Catcher Darrell Porter, represented by Jeffrey Porter. Pitcher Ken Sanders. Pitcher Jim Slayton. Outfielder Stormin Gorman Thomas. Pitcher Bill Travers. We also recognize the late George Boomer Scott, whose family was not able to attend today. From the 1980s, pitcher Chris Bosio, represented by Jensen Ray. Pitcher Mike Caldwell. Infielder Cecil Cooper. Pitcher Chuck Krim, represented by Cody Krim. Hall of Fame pitcher Raleigh Fingers. Infielder Jimmy Gantner. Pitcher Moose Haas. Pitcher Teddy Higuera. Manager Harvey Keene, represented by his family Audrey Keene, Harvey Jr., and Robin. Catcher Charlie Moore. Outfielder Ben Ogilvy. Pitcher Dan Plesac. Catcher Ted Simmons. Catcher B.J. Surhoff. Pitcher Bill Wegman. And Hall of Famer number 19, Robin Young. Unable to join us today, outfielder Rob Deere, pitcher Bob McClure, Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, Hall of Fame pitcher Don Sutton, and pitcher Pete Vukovich. From the 1990s, outfielder Jeremy Burnitz. Pitcher Mike Fetters. Outfielder Darrell Hamilton. Infielder John Jaha, represented by Jordan Jaha. Pitcher Jamie Navarro. Outfielder Greg Vaughn. Infielder Fernando Vina. Pitcher Bob Wickman. Unable to join us today, infielder Jeff Cirillo. Pitcher Cal Eldred. Infielder Pat Listash. Infielder Mark Loretta. Catcher David Nilsson. Infielder Kevin Seitzer. And infielder Jose Valentin. From the 2000s, infielder Craig Counsell. Outfielder Jeff Jenkins. Infielder Richie Sexson. And pitcher Ben Sheets. Unable to join us today, infielder Billy Hall. The Brewers' Wall of Honor would not be complete without recognizing the voice of your Milwaukee Brewers. Hall of Fame broadcaster Bob Uecker. And ladies and gentlemen, the man who returned Major League Baseball to Wisconsin, Commissioner Alan H. Bud Selig. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in congratulating the inaugural class of the Brewers Wall of Honor. We invite our ceremonial pitchers and catchers to take their positions for a simultaneous ceremonial pitch recognizing each era of the Brewers' 45-year history. Representing the 70s, Commissioner of Major League Baseball Bud Selig. The 80s, Hall of Famer Robin Yount. The 90s, Greg Vaughn. And representing the 2000s, Craig Counsell. Catching the ceremonial first balls will be Hall of Fame announcer Bob Uecker, along with Charlie Moore, Ted Simmons, and B.J. Surhoff. There you go. Fans, let's have one more round of applause for the inaugural class recognized on the Brewers Wall of Honor as they exit the playing field and toss their ceremonial pitch to the fan. Thank you.
What an event here at Miller Park. Baseball is on the way. First pitch is next.
A quick one on us in the pregame show.
Yeah, you know, they got rain coming, so we're going to have a quick one.
Nice.
Ramirez sends that one into deep left center field. Young is running out of room, and she's gone. Gomez comes in. That gets by him. That is big trouble. Murphy racing around second. Gomez finally gets to the ball, and Murphy is in the third. It's speed at third, and Young, the pitch on the way, and a strike called outside corner. And Recker is barking, and he's thrown out of the game. Lucroy launches one left field, and that ball is up and out. Two-run home run. Brewers win. What a game tonight. Milwaukee outlasting the New York Mets.
What a great way to end the road trip with an extra inning win last night, and what a sight for sore eyes and tired eyes. Miller Park, Milwaukee on a Friday night, and a day of celebration here as they unveil the Brewers Wall of Honor. 39 former Brewers and dignitaries here at Miller Park today. Just had a ceremony before the game, and ceremonial first pitches just went down as well. Great day to be here at Miller Park. Great to have you with us tonight. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Certainly looking forward to this matchup tonight because the Reds are here. You got a lot of the former Brewers here as well. And you start to dive into division rivals. And there's one guy who is playing like he's going to be on that Wall of Honor one day, and that's Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. I mean, you talk about what he's been able to do defensively, blocking pitches, throwing, calling a game. But the one thing he's been doing better than any catcher in all of baseball right now is swinging that bat. And you look at the box here, all the red areas that are shaded red, those are the hot zones for Jonathan Lucroy. And look how many of them are there. There's only a couple spots right there where you really throw to him and he can't really, have a whole lot of success here. But right now, when you look at Jonathan Lucroy and his approach at the plate, he's taking every ball up the middle, and when he gives him something to pull, like they did last night, that hanging curveball, knocking it out of the ballpark. You see a lot of charts like that. You see a lot of red and hot zones for hitters, and not too many have that much red area in their box. And Jonathan Lucroy right now seeing it well and swinging it well, carrying the offense for the Brewers.
And it was the big home run last night by Lucroy that gave the Brewers the lead in the 13th inning. And on that road trip, played in all 8 games, he hit 2 homers, hit for a .412 average, drove in 6 runs in the 8 games. He's back in there tonight, and the Brewers try to pick up a win against the Cincinnati Reds. They'll send Matt Garza to the mound tonight. He's pitched well in his last few starts. We'll talk Garza. We'll talk Homer Bailey when we continue from Miller Park. is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. What a beautiful Friday night it is here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A little bit chilly out, so they closed up the roof. And by the way, our aerial coverage tonight provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. There should be some great images from up above. And the Brewers take the field behind Matt Garza. Just a brief 3-game homestand. Garza will get the call in the opener against the Cincinnati Reds. And Rock, what a way to get the day started. What a way to get the weekend started with the unveiling of the plaques out near the Friday's Grill on the north wall outside the stadium and the brand new Wall of Honor.
Man, what a great idea. What a great time to do it. A brief homestand as we talked about. But all in that tent, I mean, that was the biggest collection, largest collection of former Brewers that I've ever been a part of. Bud Selig was there, the baseball's commissioner. You see B.J. Surhoff, a bunch of my old teammates and guys that were on the Brewers when I was a broadcaster. Ron Rennicky did a classy thing, bringing his entire coaching staff and team out to witness that ceremony. And I think Craig Counsell said it best, but you know, Brewers fans, young and old, are going to be able to walk by that area out there, look at it, one of those plaques, and remember a story, a memory of a certain player that they remember going to a ball game. Maybe it was their first game ever, but what a great day it was for Brewer baseball.
Well, currently there are 58 players or persons who meet the criteria to be on the Wall of Honor. 7 of those are active players, and there figures to be a lot more that will surface in the coming years. Matt Garza is hoping he's one of those players at some point, and the Brewers are glad to give the ball to Garza, who is pitching well now, Rock, and he'll get the Cincinnati Reds tonight. It'll be start number 14 of the season, and he does get that extra day's rest.
Yeah, and that's probably good for Garza. He's 2-0 in the month of June. He's given up only 3 earned runs in his last 12 1/3 innings. He's won 3 of his last 4 decisions and 2 in a row. Got a win against the Pirates last time out. 3 runs in 6 innings for Garza.
Oh, and speaking of those numbers, after some rest, that is in our lows never stop improving. And this season, 4 days of rest, which is typically what a starter gets. Garza's ERA is up over 6, but when he has that extra day, when it's 5 or more, sometimes you get him with off days, skip a guy in the rotation, whatever it may be. Garza's been at his best. He's 2-2. He has a 2.75 ERA and a significant difference in opponent's batting average. And he will match up against Cincinnati tonight. And Rock, the Reds are a ball club that feels like they finally have their pieces put together. And they are healthy once again. So they are expecting big things for the rest of the season. The Associated Bank lineup, courtesy of Brian Price, Billy Hamilton, Todd Frazier, and Joey Votto. Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, and Devin Mesoraco in the middle with Skip Schumacher, Zach Cozart, and Homer Bailey rounding it out. Good sized crowd on a Friday night. School is out. Time for summertime here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Billy Hamilton, the speedster who set stolen base records in the minor leagues, about ready to play his first game inside Miller Park. Hamilton, Frazier, and Votto, first 3 up, as Matt Garza is ready to roll in his first offering of the game. Hamilton shows bunt. Ramirez throws to first, and it is in time for the out. Yeah, nice play. Ramirez coming in, making that play for Garza, who has his troubles throwing to first base. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, Billy Hamilton really doesn't bother him. Even if the third baseman is in, he feels as though if he gets the ball where he wants it, he deadens it enough, he's going to be able to beat it out anyway. Got terrific speed, and Ramirez is able to get him by a step. And you can see Mark Reynolds with a snow cone right there in the glove.
You know, I didn't see that in real time, but Reynolds actually made contact just as the ball entered his glove with the leg of Hamilton. So a terrific job by Reynolds hanging on to the baseball. 1 pitch and 1 out. Here's Todd Frazier. Cincinnati coming off a win yesterday. Alfredo Simon beat Zach Greinke yesterday. The Reds handed Zach Greinke his first ever loss at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Reds in the postseason last year, one of 3 Central Division clubs in the National League to make it to the playoffs, as Frazier slaps one into left field, a base hit. And a man on with 1 out. How about the Brewers defensively tonight, Rock?
Yeah, they've been outstanding. Brought to you by Menards. Brewers defense. You got a big change at shortstop. Gene Segura gets the night off. Irving Falou gets a start. He got one hit right by him out there in the left field. And Scooter Gennett back at second base. It was Ricky Weeks to get a start last night with the left-hander throwing for the Mets.
And Segura gets the night off after a long stretch of games. So a breather for Segura. Brewers got in late or early this morning. Depends on how you look at it, as Joey Votto fouls one back. About a 3 a.m. arrival for the Brew Crew after that 13-inning victory in New York last night. Cincinnati played a day game yesterday, beating the Dodgers. They were in town about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Kicked their heels up and watched the Brewers in the Mets until the wee hours.
Man, what a nice win for the Brewers. I mean, you hate to play 13 innings, particularly on getaway day and a night game, but you win them, you forget all about how long it took. When you lose that game, that's an awfully long flight back to Milwaukee.
Joey Votto just back in the lineup for the Cincinnati Reds this past week. That one's in the air to center. Gomez is under it, and Votto is retired. And the second out of the inning. Ball goes all the way through. Almost hit Votto coming back. Frazier stays put. Marvin Hudson, he's the home plate umpire tonight. He'll call the balls and strikes. The crew chief is Brian O'Nora. He's over at first base. Keep an eye on him in case we have a replay or challenge scenario. Doug Eddings and Corey Blazer join O'Nora on the bases. Gonna have to readjust the sights tonight for the Brewers after a 3-city road trip that went through pitcher-friendly ballparks in Minneapolis and Pittsburgh and Citi Field in New York. Back to hitter-friendly Miller Park. Two outs for Brandon Phillips, and Frazier takes off. Garza throws to second and throws it into center field. He just cannot make a throw to a base.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, all you got to do is step off, crow hop, make a good throw to second base, but I'm not sure what that was. He finally realizes, steps off, and look at this throw by Garza. Gennett couldn't handle it into center field. It's going to be a stolen base and an error. Wow.
It's just something lodged deep in the brain that won't allow him to make those throws. Now, if it's a bang play and he's got to just react and throw it hard to a base, he's typically fine, but I don't blame the Reds for trying. A lot of teams are doing that.
It starts with the feet, though. I mean, you got to crow hop, get the feet under you. Every player has to do that, including the pitcher trying to make a throw. This kind of throws flat-footed, and really he's not able to get much accuracy or anything on the baseball.
So they're going to score that as a straight error, a 2-base error by Garza. No stolen base for Todd Frazier. He's at third for Phillips. The 0-1 down in the dirt. Good block by Lucroy. Brewers had a tough time with the Reds earlier in the season. Back in April on the road, they lost 3 out of 4 to Cincinnati. Winning series has been a big story for the Brewers lately. They've won 5 series without a series loss, and they've played 7 consecutive series without losing one. Have a couple of splits in there. And there's a base hit, and a run will score. So Garza's error allows Cincinnati to put a run on the board in the first inning.
And Brandon Phillips doing it he does best. I mean, he gets that good extension. He's off the plate and drives one into right field.
Well, and you wonder if Brandon Phillips is going to challenge Garza here, make him do something he does not want to do, throw to a base, as Jay Bruce steps in. Bruce also returning to the lineup. They've been without a lot of their pieces together for a while. Bruce has just 5 home runs and 21 runs batted in.
And hitting .212, but as you mentioned, this lineup's starting to come together. They've got all their pieces in place. And it's not just their starting lineup, it's their pitching staff as well. Chapman's back. Matt Latos is coming back to make a start tomorrow. So for the first time all year, the Reds are starting to get healthy.
Bruce missed a couple of weeks in May. He's been back about a month now. Votto just returning last week. Bruce actually had knee surgery, arthroscopic surgery to repair a meniscus. And spent a couple of weeks on the DL. Cincinnati will send up Homer Bailey tonight, Latos tomorrow, and Mike Leake on Sunday. The Brewers counter with Garza, Gallardo, and Marco Estrada in this 3-game series. And then it's right back on the road. The Brewers headed to Phoenix and then Denver. Got the D-backs and the Rockies on the next road trip, and then returning to Miller Park for a nice long homestand. Gonna have to weather the storm of this tricky part of the schedule for the Brewers.
And the trickiest part of the schedule could very well be the Cincinnati Reds. The Brewers have had a tough time against the Reds over the last few years. I mentioned they lost 3 out of 4 to the Reds. All pretty good games, though. The Brewers winning 1 in that series. That was that 2-0 shutout by Willie Peralta.
Brewers have not had a winning season series against the Reds since the 2006 season. It's been a long time. Two balls, 2 strikes on Jay Bruce. Phillips over at first. And here's the pitch, and that one is a little bit down and away. Full count. That'll give Phillips a head start at first.
Last time out, Matt Garza had tremendous command of his fastball and slider. Slider was a good pitch for him, got some outs. And fastball on both corners, very effective.
Phillips takes off, and Bruce swings and misses. Garza strikes out Bruce. Reds get a run on a Garza error, and it's 1-0. Brewers coming up. I-94 and Miller Parkway, and the Brewers coming to bat for the first time against Homer Bailey. The Associated Bank batting order tonight. Scooter Gennett back in the leadoff spot. Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy to follow. Middle of the order is Gomez, Ramirez, and Davis, with Reynolds, Falou, and Garza. Falou gets a start for Gene Segura, and there is Homer Bailey. 2 no-hitters in his big league career. And his 14th start of the season. Rocky has 7 wins already.
Yeah, he's been pitching very well. He's 4-7 against the Brewers, but he's won his last 3 decisions. And in that stretch, he's only given up 7 earned runs in 21 innings of work. Overall, Homer Bailey with a .521 earned run average, but a lot of that big damage coming early in his career.
Yeah, Bailey's signing a big contract with the Cincinnati Reds, a 6-year deal that'll take him through 2019. Could take him to 2020, as a matter of fact, with a couple of options. And he is ready to go. And Scooter Gennett, who grew up in Cincinnati, at least until he was a teenager. How about the AT&T U-verse Rewind? We take a look at Homer Bailey against Milwaukee. This was back on May 1st. Winning pitcher in that game, his 2nd win of the year. Went 8 innings and only 3 earned runs.
Yeah, walked 1, struck out 4, took 108 pitches in a Cincinnati Reds win. It was an 8-3 win that night.
3 out of 4 in that series by Cincinnati.
I remember that was the first game of the series, and it was 3-3 going into the 9th inning, or the 8th inning, and the Reds picked up 5 runs in that 8th inning to separate themselves. The Brewers would win the next night on that 2-0 shutout by Willie Peralta.
2 balls and a strike on Gennett, and he slaps one into left center, a base hit. Well, he is adapting well to that leadoff spot. Scooter Gennett in his 3rd game as a leadoff hitter. A single to left center to start the ball game offensively.
Yeah, watch the way he keeps that front shoulder tucked. Gets on top of the pitch away. Going down and through, getting on top of it, getting some backspin on it, just out of the reach of Cozart at short. So a good start to the night from Milwaukee.
Gennett's on a nice run at the plate. One of the reasons he's hitting leadoff, pushing his batting average over .330 in his last 19 or so games. So he's aboard for Ryan Braun, back in the 2 spot in the batting order tonight. And Braun takes a strike from Bailey. Ryan took an 0 for last night. Batting average dropped down to .294. Has 9 home runs. 7 of the 9 have come on the road, but his last 2 have been here at Miller Park. And Ryan's driven in 33 runs.
And just one of those nights last night for Braun. He's just a little bit behind, the fastball out in front of the breaking pitch. And that's made a concerted effort to try to pitch Braun inside the entire series.
Lucroy will hit next. It's been a successful batting order for the Brewers, coming off a 5-3 road trip, winning back-to-back games in New York. That was way inside and hits Braun. So Bailey, a shaky start, a hit and a hit batter, and 2 on to start it for the Crew with Lucroy coming up.
Man, it seems like that's what the Reds want to do to Braun as well. Pitch him inside, but that's what happens right on the back of the arm. Get it too far in, you hit a guy, you leave it too far out over the plate, he's going to drill one off the wall somewhere.
Braun does wear that protective padding on that elbow. That started a few years back. Saved an injury. So 2 on, good speed on the bags, nobody out. Brewers trying to answer a scoring 1st inning for the Reds where they got a run. And here comes Lucroy. .336 average, 5 homers, 30 runs batted in. He's in the top 3 in the National League in average, multi-hit games, doubles, and overall hits. And he lines one right to Phillips, and it'll turn into a double play. Just like that. 2 quick outs.
And it's not just the Brewers that position their infield pretty well. That one, you see Phillips shaded up the middle just a little bit, but Lucroy hits it right at him, and Scooter Gennett taking a little bit too many steps off the bag, and an easy double play for Cincinnati.
And a base running mistake by Gennett. So 2 gone. Braun at first now, and here is Carlos Gomez. Inside, almost hit him. And unlike Braun, you see Gomez and Segura's this way too, but these guys, they turn inside on a pitch. So they open themselves up on inside pitches. That's how they take it. As Gomez, little jam shot, and it's caught by Cozart. Heck of a play by the red shortstop. And Bailey out of the inning on a couple of liners. As the captain, Derek Jeter, takes the field in his last All-Star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30, and it's only on Fox. And here is today's Feldco All-Star voting update. 8 players on the ballot. You can vote at Brewers.com. You have up to 25 votes per email account. Right now, Gomez is the only member that would be a starter at this point, sitting 3rd among outfielders. Top 3 go. And here we go to the bottom of the, or rather the top of the 2nd inning. Reds are coming up. Scored a run in the 1st. Very unusual way to get a run. And the Brewers hit a couple of line drive outs, and that's the way the game goes sometimes.
Yes, very fortunate for Cincinnati, but the Brewers putting together some pretty good at-bats early on.
Devin Mesoraco, first man up, and he'll pop one foul and out of play. Times have changed a little bit for these two catchers, Mesoraco and Lucroy. And the narrative the last time these two teams played was how great Mesoraco was swinging the bat, and Lucroy was just going along so-so. But things have changed since about mid-May. There's a bouncer to 3rd. Ramirez on a tough hop. And a good strong throw to get Mesoraco for the first out of the 2nd inning.
Yeah, stuck right with it. That ball skipped a little bit, stayed down on him, and Ramirez was able to handle it and make the throw to first base. Man, Brewers played so well defensively in the first part of that road trip. 2 errors in yesterday's ball game. But 5 errors overall for the Brewers on that road trip in 7 games. Make that 8 games.
Yeah, 3 errors the first 7 games, and then had the 2 yesterday, and the one by Gomez led to the run. And then extra innings. What a grinder of a ball game last night. And the Brewers outlasting the New York Mets, taking 2 out of 3. What was interesting about the road trip, the Brewers went to 3 different venues. They lost the first game of each series. Came back to win the remainder of that series, regardless of where they were. Split with the Twins. Took 2 out of 3 from the Pirates and then 2 out of 3 from the Mets. Renicky very pleased with the way the club played away from Miller Park in the first big leg of this stretch of games where they are 15 of 18 on the road.
And what's so good about the way they've been playing on the road lately anyway is that the offense starting to pick up the pitching.
Schumacher fouls it away.
Early in the season, the Brewers were forced to pitch so well that they'd be winning games 3-1, 3-2. But guys are starting to swing the bats, giving the pitching staff a little margin for error. Except for last night, of course.
Yeah, the Brewers were able to come back from a 4-0 deficit in Minnesota. They actually did that in both games against the Twins. Won one, lost one. That's something that hadn't happened all year until the Brewers did it in game 2 of that series against Minnesota. Offense is turning along pretty well right now. Hitting a lot of home runs. Strikeouts are still up, but the Brewers have major threats throughout their batting order 1 through 8. Schumacher gets sawed off. Here's Falou's first try. And a bad throw and safe at first. Yeah, so the Brewers a little shaky here defensively tonight.
Well, it doesn't take too many bad games defensively to drop you in the standings. As far as total defense, came into the game yesterday tied for second. A relatively routine play for Falou over at short. Throw off the mark. And it looks as though Reynolds missed him with the swipe tag as he went by.
Yep, and a good call over at first base by Brian Onora. So that'll be the second Brewers error already. An E6 on Falou. Reaching out is Cozart. And Falou puts that one away for out number 2. Garza had him fooled on that first offering.
Hey fans, make sure you're at Miller Park for vintage Brewer bobblehead this coming Sunday when the Brewers battle the Cincinnati Reds. All fans in attendance will receive a one-of-a-kind vintage Brewer bobblehead courtesy of Time Warner Cable. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com.
Handsome devil, isn't he?
Staring at you this time.
Yes, he is. He's been staring at me for a while. I'll be glad when vintage bobblehead day is in the past. Vintage Bobble had a exhausting road trip to New York. I mean, he was out there everywhere all day.
Town. Yeah. Yeah.
He and his entourage. Homer Bailey at the plate with 2 outs. Bailey can actually swing the bat all right. He has 5 hits this year. 3 runs batted in. Rolls over 1 to Ramirez. Nice easy hop. Nice easy throw. And Garza puts up a 0 in the second. coming up in their home whites tonight. Got the Retro Friday look going this evening. Last time they wore these uniforms, they won. They actually wore them on the road in Minneapolis. Well, last night, Aramis Ramirez of John Neese Powerball home run number 7. Second inning home run for Ramirez. Put the Brewers on top 1-0.
Yeah, but the Brewers would go scoreless until the 13th. No predictions on time of game tonight.
Yeah, you had a little note yesterday, didn't you? Thought yesterday was going to go quickly, and it was going quickly. I got to back you up on that.
Well, when you have two pitchers that have been throwing the baseball well, throwing a lot of strikes, don't walk many guys, and now you figure you're going to get a quick one. Didn't happen, did it?
And typically when you go 10 scoreless innings, you're doing it across a couple of days, and that means usually 1 loss or sometimes 2. Brewers went 10 scoreless innings and won yesterday.
Oh, it actually was a quick game for 13 innings.
It was 4 hours and 8 minutes.
So I was right.
I mean, we've had 9-inning games that have taken that long. You were offering some great analysis last night.
Backpedaling is what I was doing.
Kyle Loesch pitched a gem last night. 8 innings, 1 run. It was unearned. No decision, but a terrific bounce back start for Loesch.
Yeah, but Jonathan Neese just as good. Well, you love to see pitchers duels like that. Offenses hate them, but they just don't see that kind of pitching all that often with both guys in the same game doing it.
The numbers for Loesch yesterday, and dropped his earned run average to .300 as Ramirez swings and misses. Ball gets away. Mesoraco throws. Ramirez out. And they're going to check this one. Call on the field was out. Both Garth Ords, the first base coach, and Ramirez had it safe. And Renicky will take his time on the way out to chat with Marvin Hudson, or rather Brian O'Nora.
Well, I tell you, that's pretty close on that call. Here's one you'll get a good look at.
Got him.
Out.
Good
Yep,
call.
out. Yep. Brian O'Nora was right on it.
And you know what? That's an unusual call for an umpire because of where the throw is coming from. So this shouldn't take long. The Brewers seeing the same kind of replays that we have, and
it looked like he got it right from the angle we had.
Ron Renicky and a couple of his coaches made a tour of the replay center, the command center. Yeah, that's a good call. He's out.
Yeah.
That's the definitive look right there.
Well, you get 30 seconds. I think the Brewers are about at 30 seconds right now.
So Ramirez, a strikeout victim, and the first out of the second inning. Chris Davis takes a strike from Bailey. Davis has good numbers against Homer Bailey. 5 for 11 career, and 2 of those 5 hits are home runs.
And Bailey throws that fastball in the mid-90s. Got a slider and a splitter. Split-fingered fastball when he gets ahead 2 strikes. He can rack up some Ks when he's going well. The author of 2 no-hitters.
Yeah, how about that? He threw the last no-hitter of 2012 through the first no-hitter of 2013. Tall right-hander at 6'4" out of LaGrange, Texas, Central Texas, not too far from the capital city, Austin. And a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Homer Bailey. 2 up, 2 down in the second.
Now let's check out the Cincinnati Reds defense, brought to you by Menards. They're the best defensive team in all of baseball. They've got a .989 fielding percentage. They committed only 27 errors all season long, and a third of those have come from their third baseman, Todd Frazier. He's got 9. So it is a very tight defense for these Cincinnati Reds. They don't make too many mistakes.
2 outs. Here's Mark Reynolds. You know, it's interesting. The Reds were the first National League team, the oldest of the professional baseball teams. That's why opening day is always in Cincinnati, by the way, if you're wondering. And while the Brewers franchise, which started in 1970, has 1 no-hitter, Cincinnati actually has 3 pitchers who have 2 no-hitters apiece.
Yeah.
Homer Bailey, Johnny Vandermeer, who had back-to-back no-hitters in 1938, and then Jim Maloney had a couple of no-hitters in his Reds career, one in 65, the other in 69. Storied franchise, the Cincinnati Reds. And Bailey's in some pretty great company there.
And he's got pretty good command of his off speed so far tonight. Slider's working well for him. A couple of strikeouts coming on splitters. That's why you really want to attack this guy early in the count. You get the 2 strikes, he's going to drop that split on you, and that's a tough pitch to handle.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Bailey misses down and in. Now Mark Reynolds drove in a run in the 13th inning yesterday, had a base hit through the hole. A 4-run 13th inning for the Brewers and a 5-1 victory. 3-2. Bailey with back-to-back Ks to start this second. Yeah, Reynolds pulls one foul, reached down and hammers it into the Lowe's level in a spot you probably weren't thinking you'd get a foul ball today. I don't know, no man's land for foul balls, but Reynolds did all he could to get a bat on that ball as it was diving down and in.
Yeah, that's how strong he is. Out on his front foot, he was way out in front and still able to hit it pretty far.
Payoff pitch on the way and a swing and a miss. Homer Bailey strikes out the side in the second. 1-0 Reds, 2 in the books at Miller Park. brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Marshfield Clinic, don't just live, shine. And by Gerhardt's, the kitchen and bath store. Find inspirational design solutions and quality kitchen and bath products for your home. Visit GerhardtStore.com. Miller Park, shining bright on a Friday night and a day of some great memories. Day to have a little fun and look back, and we're joined by the kid. He looks like a kid again, right? Yeah. Robin Yount joining us here in the booth, the Hall of Famer, on the day when the Brewers honor 58 on the Wall of Honor.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool deal out there now, and it's an interesting dynamic, and you're part of the big group that came back to celebrate with us.
It's really cool, to be honest with you. It's, you know what that shows? It shows that this organization has history, you know? You know, teams with history have walls of honor and stuff like that. Now the Brewers can say, you know, they've been around long enough, to have a wall of honor. There's a lot of people that have made a significant impact in this organization, and it's awesome.
And they had players from every era, and you probably played with just about every one of them, didn't you?
Well, I was thinking about that in the press conference after we threw the first pitch out.
Yeah.
And I made that comment. I didn't see the list. I didn't go down name by name. But I think I must have played with at least 90% of those guys. Right. And then the ones I might not have played with, I think I coached.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I might have been with all of them at some point. Yeah,
that speaks well for your durability.
Well, you know, if you hang around long enough, I guess you might find something good in something.
You gave us a reason for you to hang around, though. That's the other part of it. We all want to hang around, but you gave us all a good reason to have you hang around.
Well, I had a great time hanging around. It was a lot of fun doing what we do.
Frazier into center field. 2 quick outs here in the third inning. We're visiting with Robin Yount today. If you don't know the story and you're just picking us up, the Brewers have this new creation. It's called the Wall of Honor, and you can see it. It's out there next to the Friday's Grill, between the Friday's Grill and the home plate gate, and all the plaques are out. Were you happy with your plaque, your picture, and all the verbiage under it?
You know, it's kind of a funny story about that. Is after they handed me the plaque, I went back to my table, and my wife was sitting there, and I set it on the table in front of her, and I said, I hope we don't lose this one. And the meaning behind that is, as embarrassing as this is, the plaque they give you to go in the Hall of Fame, I can't find it.
No kidding.
Somebody has it, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know where it is. And so if anybody out there in TV land has my plaque, can you please give it back?
Yeah, right.
I don't know where it is.
Let's go to eBay and check that out. Robin Yount, more with him in just a moment. We're headed to the bottom of the third as Garza has a nice, quick third inning. To the bottom of the third inning, and the Brewers coming up. Wall of Honor Day, and there's Robin Yount. Everything looks better in Phantom Cam. Robin Yount doesn't need much help, but look at all the adoring fans, photographs.
Look at all that hair.
It's nice, and the beard going, and the hair, and the familiar number 19 on that Brewers jersey. Robin joining us here in the booth, and so we went off the air, and we're talking about this thing you lost from the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe we get your phone number, and we could call you if we find it.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, actually. But God, I wish I was just telling Rock off camera that we've been in the same house for 30 years, and we're going to move this in the next year and a half. We're building another house. We built the one we're in 30 years ago. And we're going to build a smaller home on a smaller property, but only a mile and a half away. My hope is in this moving process that thing shows up, because if it doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm not really big into like trophies and stuff, but
that's what we hear.
It's kind of cool to have that.
Yeah, Hall of Fame plaque, you think?
My son might want it one day. Or
Problem
I don't
is,
know.
whoever has it, if it's lost, you can't just walk into some memorabilia place and look, I have this Robin Yount play.
Well,
no one would ever believe him.
And there's only one. There's one that's you can't get off the wall, and then there's one floating around somewhere.
Maybe we can sell your house for you. Anybody wants to buy Robin Yount's house?
You might
comes with the house.
If you
Sweeten the deal.
If you want a Hall of Fame plaque, you might get it with the house. I can't promise anything because I don't know where it is.
Didn't you used to have your MVP trophy just kind of hanging out under your bed or something like that? Is that true?
I'm not sure where it was, in all honesty, but
there's a theme developing here.
Yeah, that kind of stuff was kind of tucked away, and my wife surprised me after my year of coaching here and kind of redid an office and made a beautiful display of some of the stuff I have. So that stuff is somewhat exposed now with the lack of one particular plaque.
And all you guys are staying at a hotel downtown. I would imagine you guys got together last night, told some stories.
Unfortunately, I wasn't part of that. I was in New York last night and got in late this afternoon and just got here in time. My wife was coming in from Phoenix. She was later than I was, so we were rushing over to get here tonight. I'm sure that we will catch up this evening.
It's a big group of former Brewers.
Yeah,
you ever been around
that
many guys all at the same time?
No, I don't think. We've had some reunion type deals, especially with the '82 teams and other, kind of old timer events and whatever. But none of this magnitude. This
is the largest collection of former Brewers, specific to the Brewers, that has ever been gathered. We appreciate all of those players coming back, like you, Robin. And I thought Bob Uecker said it best, who emceed the event. Used to have old timers games, and that would be the opportunity to get back, tell some stories. There's only so many celebrations that the Brewers can have about the '82 team. I mean, the 10 to 20, 30, 40 years go through as Garza is out. So this created that kind of opportunity, and I think it's a great chance for fans to have their own memories as they look at these plaques and tell their children, their grandchildren. It's a really special opportunity here that, I'm not sure many other organizations would take the time to put together this kind of group to come back in one sitting.
Well, we can all thank Craig Counsell for that. I think he was the brains behind the whole deal, and we all, from me for all the guys, thank Craig for coming up with the idea and actually making it happen. So, what's really cool about it is these other guys really do appreciate that. Let's face it, the impact they made here is now out there on the walls of the stadium forever. And their faces are going to be associated with the Milwaukee Brewers as long as this stadium is here. And hopefully when this one wears out and we got to get another one, they'll at least take those plaques with them to the new one. So
amazing group of guys.
Yeah, it's just, and the way I understand it, they'll continue to add to it.
Sure.
And for the rest of the history of this organization.
That was interesting today at the ceremony. Ron Renicky brought his entire coaching staff and all of his players there to
awesome.
pay homage to you guys and to be there. And you start looking at those players and you start thinking, I could see a couple of these players on that wall. Ron Renicky, you know, he aspires to be on that wall as well to make an impact in this market.
Well, now we better just start hitting, because we might have distracted them a little bit before the game. Now let's get their focus back on the ball game here and score some runs, because you know we're doing pretty good this year.
Real quick. I mean, your thoughts on this team? I mean, they're playing some pretty good ball.
They're playing really good ball, really consistent ball. And I think the last time I was here, a couple weeks ago, we talked about it. And you know, they kind of finished up last season like they are now. They're picked up where they left off last season, and the addition to a better pitcher here and there, and we're just going with it.
Robin, great to see you.
Thank you. Always good being here.
It's always a pleasure to be in the company of the kid, Robin Yount, the Hall of Famer, back in Milwaukee on a special night here at Miller Park. The roof is all closed up, and we've got a conga line of great people coming in. So Robin Yount is out. Craig Counsell is in. Robin just mentioned you, by the way. He said thanks to you, the Wall of Honor is in place. You were the brainchild of this thing. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was really just a simple conversation I had with Tyler Barnes, and it ballooned into something I could have never imagined. And it was really a special day. And it was great seeing those players, you know, snapping photos of their plaques and kind of snapping photos of their teammates' plaques and things like that.
Nice speech too. I mean, you're familiar with the TV booth. I mean, you did some pre and post, but heck of a performance in the speech.
Speech is tough. Speeches are tough, but you know, you get through it, and it was a fun day. It was definitely a fun day.
Well, I thought you did a great job. I haven't, you know, I've seen you speak, do interviews, all kind of. You've obviously been on the air with us quite often as Garza faces Brandon Phillips to start this inning, but to be in that setting, I thought your words were really powerful today, and you made some comments that only a guy who grew up in this market, who understands what it means from a fan's perspective to have those plaques out there. I'd love for you to share a little bit of what you talked about as far as sharing memories with your family and friends with those plaques and the individual players.
Well, I think that's the great thing about baseball. Commissioner Seelig talked about this too, is that it's you know, it's a generational game, and it links grandparents bringing grandkids to your game, and moms and dads bringing their sons or daughters to their first game. And those plaques kind of commemorate the players who had significance and importance to the Brewers. And you know, people will be able to go by that Wall of Honor and say, I remember when I saw Sixto Lezcano hit an opposite field home run in County Stadium, or whoever it may be. And I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's been it was an amazing group of guys. I mean, how did you come up with the you know, the criteria to get into the
I was
Wall
not
of Honor?
any part of the criteria. I was more a part of just saying, hey, we should do something to honor. You know, we got great statues out there of the greatest Brewers of all time.
Right.
But to honor just the full history of the Brewers and guys that played here for a while, and fans remember them making contributions and remember watching them play.
No, you have guys that have been in this organization, even if it's only a couple of months. A guy like CC Sabathia, I could see him being out on that Wall of Honor at some point. I mean, the contribution that he made back in 2008.
Well, there's several guys on our team right now that are that are already, I think, have qualified for it, and once they retire, will be on that Wall of Honor. Brawny, Giovanni Gallardo, Ricky Weeks come to mind right away.
Visiting with Craig Counsell, who was the originator of the idea of the Wall of Honor, which came to fruition today. As Phillips bounces over to third, and he'll pull up the reins, and Ramirez throws him out, no problem. Now, Craig's going to be joining us on the next road trip. You're going to be back in broadcasting, huh? You're going to do a little radio?
I am, yeah. First radio debut in Arizona on the road trip, so filling in for you. Looking forward to it.
Nice. We look forward to having you on the next road trip. Tell us about what's going on with you right now as a special assistant with Doug Melvin. What's been your orders here lately? What have you been busy doing?
Well, we just got through the draft, which was a pretty exciting thing today. We actually the three picks got a chance to sit with the 44 players, I guess, that were present, and Hank Aaron spoke to him. Commissioner Seelig spoke to him. It was, I'm not sure that as an 18-year-old kid, you know what happened, but it was quite a moment.
There's Jay Bruce. Drives one into right center for a single.
Now, do you enjoy this end of the business? I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. In broadcasting, you have people that want you to coach. I mean, front office. I mean, front office fit you pretty well.
I've enjoyed it. It's been, I think that when you get off the field and you play, you're kind of focused on your job, and then this whole world opens up to you of what goes in to actually put these players on the field, and so much more work goes into it. At finding the right guys to put on your team, and it's a challenge that is a puzzle, and had a great time working for Doug and learning that side of the business.
Are they listening to you this year?
I told this story at the ceremony today that Doug said the first good idea I had was this ceremony today. So at least I'm contributing now in my job.
Now you can stay. You might even get a parking spot, maybe Employee of the Month at some point. Where exactly is your office? Are you up there near the War Room and the Ivory Tower, or are you kind of
in the far corners?
Yes.
The far corners of the stadium.
Okay, good.
Away from the qualified employees.
What are your thoughts about the ball club as you watch this team over the first couple of months of the season? Are you surprised? Is it going the way you thought? Where are the successes in your mind?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the starting rotation has just been so solid, and I think that's what you hoped would happen, but it has happened. I think we had a stat the other day. We've only had 2 starts less than 5 innings all year, and that's a sign of a consistent, solid starting rotation that allows your bullpen to work at its maximum efficiency.
Garza facing Devin Mesoraco, and a 1-1 count.
He sounds like a front office guy, doesn't he?
It's good. Big words.
That's pretty good. Maximum efficiency and all that. Yeah.
Those are you got to use the terminology. You got to fake it.
How actively involved? I know that the Brewers do a lot of shifting, and the coaching staff gets involved in that. But talk about the process, that the team has to go through to actually set the way this offense or the defense's position. I mean, a lot of people are involved in that.
Well, there is. There's a advanced scouting staff that's got a big part in that. Coaches play a big part in it, and it's with so much video now and basically history on all these hitters. It's really just going and doing the work, looking at the last 150 ground balls a player has hit, and that's what literally happens. And then we use charts, and depending on who's pitching and what kind of pitcher, and you can break it down every which way now, and you have to be careful how thin you slice everything.
Right.
But you still have to use some gut instinct of what feels right, but there's so much information that if you figure out how to use it the right way, it can be very powerful. It gets you outs, and that's what we're trying to do.
How often in your discussions, now that you're a front office member, how often in your discussions do you revert back to your playing days? You know, for example, I don't even know if this would come up, but in a defensive shift, and you might say, well, that would be an uncomfortable place for a second baseman to be standing. Do you find yourself going back there often? As Mesoraco pops this one up, Lucroy has room to make the play right down the netting for out number 2, and Mesoraco is retired. But go ahead, Craig. How often are you going back to your playing days and what you remember?
Well, I think you always do. You always, see the information, and then you kind of go back to your gut and what your gut says, and if it feels right. And there's always instances where you say, if we're going to put 2 infielders, the shortstop and second baseman on the same side, and they're going to play the same depth, are they going to run into each other? So there's things like that you always use your instincts from when you play to try to help you make better decisions.
Yeah, coaching is so much more complex than it was even 10 years ago. I mean, so much information that they pour through. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. Pouring through all that information is a big part of the coach's jobs now.
And relaying what they feel is important to the players so that they don't get bogged down with all of it.
There's so many numbers, so many stats you can go to, charts, and that's the difference, I think, between a winning organization and one who struggles is the ones that can start to cipher all of that. And I think once it gets down to the dugout, Craig, it becomes now you start dealing with the human beings that are having to execute all of this, and there's a skill involved in that as well.
Well, you can't make the players think about it when they're on the field. They have to. It has to be enough instinctual to them that they're reacting. There's very rarely time for the player to think about, to stop and think when he's on the field. Between pitches you can do it, but at some point it's got to be a reaction. It's got to be in you. You got to feel it. And so you got to be careful how the information is presented to the player and how usable is that information to the player.
Talking with Craig Counsell, had the idea of the Wall of Honor, which was unveiled today. And we can get into all of the X's and O's with Counts. Great to talk to, and you had a terrific career, 2 World Series titles. But today was fascinating in that you brought a side that you're one of the few who can bring that out as Schumacher bounces to Falou, and that'll retire the side. And Craig, we appreciate that. You today brought a fan's perspective to this franchise, and we appreciate that. And great job.
Thanks, B. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Counts. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Craig Counsell, Milwaukee native. Up 1-0, scored a first inning run, and we hit the home run with our guest today, our dignitaries, the commissioner of baseball, Bud Selig. We appreciate your time, sir.
Glad to be with both of you. I feel like I've seen you a lot because I watch you all the time. So
Commissioner said he was with us all the way last night, Rock, all 13 innings.
There were a couple of times the Brewers left men on base that I was having. Bill will remember this. One of my famous temper tantrums.
Yeah, and I was
you remember
responsible for a lot of them, huh?
Actually, you may have been.
Ryan Braun leads off, and on the first pitch bounces to Phillips. Well, Commissioner Selig, this was quite a day. We just visited with Robin Yount. Craig Counsell had the idea. We brought him on a moment ago. From your perspective, what does it mean to you to have the Brewers part of Milwaukee professional baseball on that wall outside in the Wall of Honor?
Well, it means a lot. Bill knows I brought the franchise here when I was a kid. Nurtured it all those years. Fought a battle to get Miller Park. And I'm so proud of our history. But I said today in the ceremony, Brian and Bill, and you'll understand this well. I feel I grew up with 2 or 3 generations of players, and Bill will remember how I lived and died with every game. And so to see all these guys, and I looked at the list last night, and every name I saw, a moment of history came to me. Something they did in a game. I told Teddy Simmons tonight, he hit a home run, you remember, in 1982 in the 9th inning to break a game over against Baltimore. We won the division, later won the pennant. And so everybody I saw today, this was really emotional. Henry Aaron and Robin and Greg Vaught is back here. And this has been a great day. This has really been a great day.
What comes to your mind when you sit in this ballpark and you look at this ballpark that you brought to Milwaukee? What goes through your mind?
I said today, Billy, that of all the things that have happened to me in my now long career, even as commissioner, bringing the Brewers to Milwaukee will always be my #1 thrill, and it gave me the greatest satisfaction. Miller Park is up there too with a lot of other things, but the fact that Bob Uecker said today, and I know, and I appreciate Mark Antanasio said it again, that without all that happening, 5.5-year journey to get a team against stunning odds. I think people have forgotten the odds for that. And I'm proud, but I'm proud of everybody that's played here and worked here. And think of all the Hall of Famers we've had, and Mark Antanasio doing a brilliant job running the franchise now. And you look at Miller Park, great crowd tomorrow night, I'm told, big crowd Sunday, big crowd today. And, one thing I counted on in the 60s, people were the Braves had left, a little cynical about Milwaukee's ability to support baseball, but the fans here the last 45 years have proved me right. This is an incredible baseball town. For this town to be drawing what they've drawn is just amazing. So it makes me proud.
Is there one Brewers baseball memory that stands above most of the other ones in your mind?
Well, there are a lot of, but I have to tell you, 2 out. Pete Ladd pitching, so you'll remember. And and I was nervous in those days. I smoked those little cigars, and I had Don Drysdale was sitting with me, and Earl Weaver's wife. They were my luck charms because we had won Friday and Saturday. And here's Rod Carew hitting. And all those years you wait, about to win the pennant, and I'm thinking to myself, I'll never forget it. Why does it have to be Rod Carew? Why couldn't it be some stiff who can't hit? It had to be Rod Carew. But fortunately, he had a shot to Yount, and Yount came up firing, and that was one of those magnificent moments you never forget.
And those floods of memories are still there, and now that can be triggered with that Wall of Honor out beyond the Friday's Grill, and you can see that it's open for public viewing. Your statue is out there. There's so many great things, great aspects about this franchise, and not just the Brewers part of it, but also the Milwaukee Braves part of it as well. That helped build baseball in Milwaukee. That's where your love began.
It sure did. It sure did, Brian. And the thing that baseball does, it links generations to generation like nothing else does. And so I watched today. Mark Antanasio and I stood out because when the players were introduced, I wanted to watch the reaction. And boy, it sent chills. It was really. Henry Aaron came in, obviously got a standing ovation, but all the players that came out, and it's really something.
You and Bob Uecker go a long way back. Talk about
back into about 1959 or 60. I could tell Uecker stories all night long. Well, some of them I couldn't tell on television, but we've had a long and really wonderful. He came in 1971. We didn't have an announcing spot, so I hired him as a scout. He told the story. He went to the Northern League, and about 2 weeks later, Frank Lane, who was a famous old general manager, Frantic Frankie they call him. He was tough, but he was good for me at that time. He came roaring into my office and he said, "Your guy Euchre." I said, "Yeah, what about it?" He showed me a scouting report that came. It had mashed potatoes and gravy all over. And he said, "What is it you want me to do?" And Euchre did tell the story tonight, and it's absolutely true. But as much as we kid, and we have kidded a lot and had a lot of fun together, and turned into a great announcer and a really critical part of this franchise.
Well, we have 2 outs here, and I'd be remiss not asking you how it's going. Looking forward to the next commissioner as you start to end your reign as commissioner. How's that process, and how are you handling all of this individually?
I'm handling it fine. When I made the announcement, Brian, last October, I had thought about it for a long time. And when I leave, I'll have done the job about 23 and a half years. And let me assure both of you, that's a long time to do a job like this.
Sure.
But it's going fine. I have a committee chaired by Bill DeWitt of the St. Louis Cardinals, who's a terrific baseball man, and 6 owners, and they're doing fine. And so next January 25th will be my last day, and I'm looking for it. I'm going to teach and write a book, and so I really am looking for it. But this has been for me a remarkable experience, to say the least.
Proud to call you Milwaukee's own, and it's a great thing to be able to work here in Milwaukee every night and know that the commissioner of baseball has his roots here. As Ramirez rifles one at the left center, and that ball is off the base of the wall. Here comes Gomez. He will score. Ramirez ties it. A double off the fence, and we're all even at 1 apiece.
Now this Brewers offense has started to click last couple of weeks. Well, they walked to Gomez. He's on the move, and Bailey knew it right away when he saw that pitch going toward home plate that was not going to end well for him. And
he was right. It didn't end well.
Rattles one off the left center field fence, and the Brewers had the right guy on the bases. He was on the move, and he scores easy. Look at that extension for Ramirez. He's starting to swing the bat well again.
No vibration at all in that bat. That beautiful look, courtesy of Phantom Cam, and it's 1-1 as Ramirez now at second for Chris Davis. And we're here with the commissioner of baseball, Bud Selig, on a day when the Brewers unveiled their wall of honor. And at the risk of this inning ending here quickly, can I get your just overall thoughts about the way the season is going? How's replay going in your mind, the way things are producing?
We're doing well. We're off to a great attendance start, and we'll really start to pick up now all over. Replay, I think Tony La Russa, of course, who since has gone on to Arizona, said it best to me after about 6 weeks. He said, "You know, we had no right to expect that it would be this good this fast." We knew there'd be little things that we had to iron out, but I'm really pleased. All of our people, Joe Torre and I, in fact, talked about it today, and they're very, very pleased, and I am too. Look, the objective, and I was slow to come to that, the objective is to get it right, and we're getting it right. And the average, by the way, is taking 1 minute and 50 seconds. Well, you guys will remember back in the old days when managers could argue and fight. Billy Martin and Earl Weaver, you couldn't get off the field in 10 minutes.
Is there a way you could do replay and still have the arguments?
Just for fun, just for the entertainment.
Yeah, a lot of people miss the arguments. I know
we
that.
do.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, we'll have to work on that. We'll see.
Next commissioner can
Right,
tackle
that's exactly
that one.
right. He can figure that out next year.
Well, Rock and I got a chance to go spend a morning at the Replay Command Center.
Isn't that remarkable?
In Chelsea. It's fascinating.
Isn't that amazing?
Fascinating operation.
Very, very proud of BAM, and that room is unbelievable.
Yeah, the advanced media group there, and it is in Chelsea, New York. Chris Marinack gave us a tour and answered all of our questions and our criticisms and our thoughts that may be down the road. It was a really educational.
But now you guys know how professional it is there. I mean, that is really something.
Yeah, it is high tech too.
It is high tech. It is high tech.
It really is.
It's amazing that it's been able to have been launched the way it has in baseball. It's one of the toughest sport, toughest sport to have replay by far. And just being in that office, Commissioner Selig, and I have to ask you this too, just to see the MLB.com operation. That's been an amazing venture under your reign as well.
It certainly has. It's been one of the most amazing things. We started at January 19th, 2000. The growth of that company, not only is it the most successful company in American sports, But I think in American business, it is a stunning story, and it's getting bigger every day. It's just huge today. We have millions and millions of visitors every day.
Now the access to games, both on television, on the radio, as Davis draws the walk. And the Brewers with 2 on with 2 out. The great access you can get. You can be sitting in this ballpark right now and go right on your smartphone, on your device. You can, I mean, this has to be mind-blowing for you from where you started. Just even getting baseball in Milwaukee to see where it's come to technology in this game.
The sport is so different today, but in a much better way. And look, the revenues of the sport have exploded. The attendance the last 10 years are the best 10 years in baseball history. And, you know, in my day, in 1970, if you drew 1 million people, in the 70s, you were a successful franchise.
Wow.
The average team this year is going to draw about 2.4 to 2.5 million with every game on television. So this is amazing.
Do you dare to make a guess what's next? What are the next areas that baseball can...
International. That's the great hope for baseball is international, Brian. If we do our work and they do their work properly, in a decade you won't recognize this game. That's how big it's going to be.
Interesting.
Yeah. So international provides a huge opportunity.
Yeah. Of all the things that you have changed in baseball, all the positive changes that you've made in your 23 years, any one that you're most proud of?
Well, there's a series of them, but the economic reformation of the sport, which included revenue sharing and a whole bunch of... The sport needed that. It was painful. It really took a lot out of everybody, including me. But you won't recognize it today. And revenue sharing has saved a whole series of our franchises. Mark Antanasio constantly tells me and says publicly he never would have bought this team without revenue sharing. So it took a lot to get there. There are a lot of people that fought it, but in the end, that's led to the greatest competitive balance we've ever had. So that had to take place, Bill, before anything else.
We're visiting with Commissioner Bud Selig. 2 on for the Brewers with 2 outs. Mark Reynolds at the plate. It's been a great day here at Miller Park. The Brewers coming back from a road trip, a late night last night, and to have this Wall of Honor unveiled and have all of these dignitaries here and terrific players, and Commissioner Selig, Henry Aaron. We've had Robin Yount on our air as well. It's one of those days when you can get a lot of people back together who have a lot of great history, and then you're just guys. You're just guys having a good time and telling stories.
And it brought back a lot of memories. Every one of them in one form or another. I got to be neutral here. I'm always reminded, you know.
You weren't questioning that call. Okay, I was just making sure.
You know, I was the worst. I was the worst second guesser of umpires, and every umpire would tell you that. I used to holler at the low show. Right. Now they work for me, but they're the best, and I'm not second guessing any of them.
And you know, replay has proven that they're pretty
You know what? Replay has really proven how good they are.
And the umpires are all for it, right?
Oh, no question. They've been great. Yeah,
that was great. Got a fan reaction out of the commissioner there. I love that.
Well, when I'm home watching you and something happens, you know, all the old-time memories of my temper tantrums come out.
Right.
Bill witnessed a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. I could hear it all the way down on the field.
I know you could.
2 on, 2 out. Got a hitter's count for Reynolds, and that's ball 4. Clearly outside, right, Commissioner? And that'll be a walk to Reynolds, and the bases are loaded. All right, the Brewers have a little rally going here, and we know you're neutral on that category as well, but we'll just say that maybe you've got something to do with it.
Well, as a matter of fact, I talked to Bob Castellini today, who's the owner of the Cincinnati Reds, and we had a nice long talk about a lot of subjects. But then at the end, he said, "You're going to go to any games?" And he knew about because he had been watching. I guess he had been watching you guys on television the last day, and you've been talking about it. And I said, "I'm going to be out there tonight." And he said, "I trust you'll be neutral."
And you wore a red tie.
And I said to him, "I'll be neutral," but
we all know.
But he laughed, and that was the end of the conversation.
So when you retire, you're sitting in Milwaukee. You'll be free to root for the Brewers.
After next January 26th, I can do what I want to do.
There you go.
And that'll be a good feeling.
You're always welcome up here. We could use a third analyst, or actually, if you'd like to call a little play-by-play.
Well,
we're always ready.
I don't know about that, and I'll tell you why. That's very nice, and I appreciate the offer. But I don't always control my language well, and I don't think that I don't want you guys to lose your license at the FCC.
He's got the big blow off by the commissioner here as Irving Falou takes a ball with the bases loaded. Well, you've seen a lot of baseball. You could throw a little analysis here. What do you think about this spot?
How about my opening pitch tonight and Euchre dropped it?
I think he
Bob had a good
idea.
idea. I did. Bob had a good idea. You know what he wanted me to do? Walk up and hand him the ball. That was his idea.
I think he dropped it on purpose.
Yeah, I know. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Falou fouls it back.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
I was concerned that Uke might go down into a catcher stance just out of memory, and then we'd not be able to get back up.
I agreed before him. I told him I hadn't thrown a ball in 2 years. Please, just let me get up belly throw.
That's the way the night started. Now these fans are revved up, hoping for a big hit out of Irving Falou. Journeyman minor leaguer, a lot of years in AAA, getting a chance with the Brewers this season. And Bailey misses 2 balls and a strike. Well, the Brewers got a run in on a double by Ramirez. Remember, Bailey had retired the first 2 batters on groundouts.
And he really hadn't been walking that many batters this year. This is unusual for him.
Ramirez with the RBI.
What's his record? What's Bailey's record?
He's 7-3.
7-3.
Having a good year.
And Falou pops it up. And that is Cozart who will call and catch, and the side is retired. Commissioner Seelig, great to see you.
Brian,
thanks
good to see
for
you.
everything.
Guys are doing great. Billy, good to see you. Another one of my guys here.
Yeah, he's the best. Commissioner
Thank
Seelig's our guest at Wall of Honor today. Certainly his plaque is there as well. To you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. Well, this is turning out to be a great night at Miller Park. And we got a good ball game going too. It's 1-1, and we've had a run of talent here in the booth, and we continue on as Greg Vaughn joins us now. Greg Vaughn in the flesh. Great to see you, man.
Thanks. Good
How
to be
are
here.
you?
I'm great. Thank you.
You, along with so many of the other former players coming back, what's this mean for you to come back and be a part of this Wall of Honor?
Well, for me, I mean, to be in the same room, you know, with Hank Aaron or Robin Yount, Raleigh Fingers, I mean, so many guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame that were great players, it's just a privilege and honor, you know. When the doctor slapped me on my backside, a pretty good chance he didn't think I was be on the Wall of Honor somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's a privilege. And to come back to Milwaukee where it all started, for me, like I said, this is a second home. And this is some place in my heart that will always have a special place for Milwaukee.
So funny watching you guys today. And there's a lot of you guys haven't seen each other, been around each other in a long, long time. And you went right back into your stories. The way you hang together, it's just like you never left each other.
No, without a doubt. I mean, those are, you know, when people ask you after you retire, do you miss it? That's the part you miss. You know what I mean? It hurts too much to play right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, so, you know, you miss the players, you miss the stories, you miss, you know, all, you know, the dinners, you know, and you always miss Gumby because he's going to say something you never heard before. So, you know, like I said, they're good times. They're times that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
But it's those friendships. Those are the kind of friendships where you might not see a guy for 3 years, but I mean, you get right back into where you were 3 years ago, right? There's no real filling each other out. Those are the kind of friendships that last forever.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, flying in yesterday, you look at Alaskan Airlines, and I seen that picture on the wing. Then all of a sudden today I see Mike Fetters. I was like, see, some things never change.
That's great. Matt Garza facing Zach Cozart to start this 5th inning in a 1-1 game. The Brewers just tied it on an Aramis Ramirez double off the wall. And we're pleased to be joined by the commissioner during that inning. We've had Robin Yount, Craig Counsell, Commissioner Seelig, now Greg Vaughn. It's been a fun night here on Brewers television.
So what do you got going, Vaughnie? I mean, what's going on in your life right now?
Well, you know, Corey's in AAA with the Mets right now, and
that's your son.
That's my son, and my daughter's sophomore at UC Davis, just finished her sophomore year, and she's on the USA Equestrian team. You know, for a junior USA Equestrian team. So, and a lot of golf, a whole lot of golf. You know, for me, it's that's sort of my way to continue to compete. You know what I mean? It's as an athlete. You have to fill that void with something, so golf has been that for me.
Tell us about your son a little bit. He's in AAA Las Vegas with the Mets.
Correct.
Now, we just left the Mets. They might be able to use your son at some point. You feel like this could be the year?
Well, I hope so. You know, like I said, you know, Mr. Aaron said something. You know, you get out of this game what you put into it, you know, and that's all I try to ever instill in my son. You don't want to have what ifs. So you go out there, you leave it all on the field like Robin taught me and told me. And whatever happens after that happens, you know. But I'm looking at their box scores pretty good on a daily basis, and they need something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How's your boy doing tonight, by the way?
Yeah.
Tonight, you know, I'm a proud papa tonight. He's 2 for 2 with a home run and 2 RBIs.
Oh, Garza throws one into the seats, and that's going to be a 2-base error.
It'll be a sacrifice for Bailey and a two-base error. So Matt Garza, we haven't seen him do that too much this year. I mean, he's been able to field his position, at least on bunts and comebackers, pretty well. That one not even close.
That's his 2nd error of the game. It looked like Reynolds was trying to hustle in to field it himself, but Garza waved him off and launches one into the 2nd row up there, actually about the 12th row up there.
Yeah, see, once again, not moving his feet. I mean, he made a throwing error back in the 1st inning, didn't move his feet, and he throws it flat-footed. And you know, Barney, you'll know. I mean, even playing in the outfield, and you got to use those feet to really get yourself in position to throw, and that's what happened there.
Yeah, you know, without a doubt, anytime you do anything, your base is the most important thing. So if you have no feet, you know, there's a good chance you're going to make a bad throw. Or if you have bad feet in the batter's box, a good chance you won't hit.
Right.
Well, now it's 2nd and 3rd. Infield is in. Billy Hamilton, speedy leadoff hitter at the plate. We are visiting with Greg Vaughn, one of the many who came back to Milwaukee today to be a part of the Wall of Honor ceremony before the game. Just a beautiful ceremony. It was emceed by Bob Uecker, and Mark Atanasio spoke. Bob Uecker turned the mic over to Commissioner Seelig as well as Hamilton into center field. It's shallow. Gomez makes the catch, throw to the plate. And the runner stops Cozart. So Gomez's throw scared him back. Cozart has great speed. I'm shocked he didn't run.
Well, you got Frazier and Votto coming up. I think that might have gone into the thinking of the Reds right there. And everybody knows the kind of throwing arm Carlos Gomez has out there in center field. And he had an opportunity to get his momentum toward home plate. Throw a little bit offline, but you know, that reputation scared the Reds off right there.
Cozart went hard to draw the throw and then goes back. So 1 out.
Vaughn, you get a chance to see this team play? I mean, check them out on television. They're playing some pretty good baseball.
Well, like I said, this is my second home without a doubt. Being from California, it's the first thing I do every day. You know, how did they do last night? You know, and like I said, I'm, you know, to be part of the tradition and, you know, the history. I played for a lot of teams, but like I said, this place is special. Like I said, I had my first 8 years of my 15-year career were here. The friendships, learning how to play, it's like I said, it's always special. And like I said, for Vons Valley, they asked me in a press conference today. I feel like those people were part of me. We connected. And last night I was out to eat, and I guess I'm telling my age now. Hey, when I grew up, I was sitting in Vons Valley
Nice.
when I was little, and I love coming to the ballpark. But I'm like, thank you for that. But at the same time, I realize I'm getting up there in age.
So you were in town last night for the big group, everybody getting together. Can you share some of the stories? Probably not, right?
Can you guys bleep? You guys have that bleep capability here?
Little jam shot that gets through. Frazier with a base hit, and in to score is Cozart. Bailey will hold around third. Well, with the infield in as it was, that opened up a hole for Frazier, who continues to have a great year at the bat. And the Reds have regained the lead. It's 2-1 now.
So both errors by Matt Garza have cost him 1 run, at least 1 run in this inning. Not a bad pitch by Garza, got in on his hands, but because the infield was in, able to fight it off and into right field.
Frazier has a chance to be an all-star at third base this year. 35th RBI for him. Leads the Reds. Leads all NL third basemen in home runs as well with 14. So there he is at first base with Votto coming up. First and third for Cincinnati. Greg Vaughn's in the booth with us. Scary to think how many home runs Vaughn would hit at Miller Park.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Fans want to see offense. It was different playing, at County Stadium. But like I said, driving in and seeing the tailgating and, the big sign with Vons Valley out there. It was nice, but also it was frustrating too, hitting fly balls, 392 left center, right center, and just becoming a can of corn.
Especially at night.
Oh, at night, the wind's blowing in. Or how about it's 88 degrees for BP.
Votto rips one to right, a base hit. That's going to bring another run in. And Garza giving up some runs here. His error leading to this inning. And the second run in for Cincinnati. Votto with an RBI. And Cincinnati up 3-1.
Well, for me, like I said, some of my craziest stories were it's 88 degrees at BP. All of a sudden you come out to get ready for the game, 15, 20 minutes before 7, and it's 37 degrees. I'm like, what happened in the last two hours? You know what I mean?
That east wind coming off the lake gets you every time, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does. And, being a hitter, too, and primarily a pull hitter, you see that flag blowing. I mean, you're driving down the highway. You're not even to Miller Park yet. You can see, to County Stadium, you can see the flag blowing. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, God, this is going to be a terrible day. I mean, it's blowing in 100 miles an hour. And, you're just psychologically, you just weren't, I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
Then Boomer Scott one day said, I said, dang, Boomer, man, every day the wind blows in. He said, son, hit line drives, hit it through the wind. So that was my approach after that.
Yeah.
I didn't let it affect me as much as I did in the past.
Didn't seem to. You hit a few home runs in your career.
Yeah, I hit a few, but can you imagine playing in 70 degrees every single night? Snow on the ground, 70 degrees, and and the ball carries pretty good here.
How would you rate the pitching these days as opposed to when you were playing? As you see games.
Well, everybody nowadays, even being at the draft, for the Brewers, I mean, everybody that gets on the mound now throws 98 miles an hour. You know what I mean? So I love fastball, so I think that would have been good. But I think the guys, they pitched inside more when we were coming up. Mm-hmm. They knew how to pitch. They pitched to the score. They didn't pitch to the numbers. You know what I mean? If you're winning a ball game and you're up by 4 in the later innings, they didn't care if you hit 3 solo home runs as long as nobody was on base. They wouldn't walk you. You know what I mean? I think the pitching, probably as far as talent or, when you evaluate it, I think the ceiling's a little bit higher. But as far as the knowing how to pitch, and I don't want to say competing, I just think they didn't pitch to numbers. They pitched to the situation.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Brandon Phillips into right center field. Long run. Braun makes a catch. Tagging at third and scoring is Todd Frazier. And another run is in. Reds are up 4-1. 3 runs in for Cincinnati in this 5th inning. Now 2 outs.
You're basically saying even with a 9-1 lead, guys going out there concerned about giving up runs, even a couple.
Well, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, as a fan or as a person watching it, I think that's what happens because, what's the first thing Rock? I came up with you guys, and if you were catching, and the pitcher you're up by 5 runs, and he's nibbling and walk the hitter,
yeah,
there's a good chance you're going to air him out, or you guys have a heated meeting on the mound.
Right.
I mean, everybody, they're pitching everybody now like they're Barry Bonds, and it's I think that's why the numbers are inflated. You know what I mean? It's
a good perspective.
I bet you'd like to hit with these strike zones these days.
Yeah, I would love to. You know what I mean? I would love to hit with these strike zones. But also, too, when I came in, it was a good time, too. You could talk to the umpires. Nowadays, like I said, you can't even ask them anything anymore. You know what I mean? That's what I noticed. The guys before, you might not agree with them, but you had to respect them because, they would admit that they made a mistake or that's as far as I'll go, or something. Nowadays, I'm towards the end of my career, hey, I think that was outside. It was a strike. I was like, wow, why is it a strike? Because you called it a strike?
Well, back in those days, you got to know them a little bit better because you had the American League umpires, you had the National League umpires. You saw them more often.
You're right, we did. And like I said, the strike zone was a strike zone, but everyone had a different one, so you knew which guy's strike zone was what. So, if a guy was a low ball umpire, if a guy gave the outside a little bit more, or if you played the Braves, it's good luck.
Greg Vaughn in the booth with us. Yeah, there's a little shot into left center. That's going to fall a base hit, and that gets by Davis and Gomez. This is going to bring another run home. And a disaster of an inning for the Brewers continues. Bruce didn't get it all by any stretch, and a little bit of miscommunication between Davis and Gomez. And it's now 5-1.
And it kind of floated out there, but was slicing away from Gomez, making it a difficult play for him. This is off the end of the bat. You can see it slicing away from Carlos, and then they kind of got confused as to who was going to take it. So the defense not very good for Milwaukee here today.
Already 3 errors. I'm not sure they'll hand out an error there. They could, I guess. But as of right now, it's a double for Bruce. And at RBI's, Votto scores from first. So it's 5-1. 4 runs in. Here's Devin Mesoraco. One thing that struck me about you, Greg, during fantasy camp a couple of years ago was how good of a coach you are and how you think about the game and translate the game and teach the game. You ever had an idea to coach or manage?
Yeah, I think, I think, it's a lot of time. I think I'm at a point in my life now where, the kids are grown and, if I had the opportunity, I might take advantage of it or take a shot at it. Like I said, this game is the best game in the world. I love it. I mean, I love teaching it, and I get excited just by being around it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're hired.
All right.
Greg Vaughn, great to see you, my friend.
All right.
Congratulations on the Wall of Honor.
All right. Thank you.
2-1. Matt Garza leading off the inning. Matt Garza and the Brewers looking to get back for the runs that they let up in the last half inning. And tonight we check in with our crew in the community. Now, the Milwaukee Brewers Community Involvement Initiative, known as the Community Achievers Award, will recognize residents throughout the state of Wisconsin each month during the season for displaying extraordinary efforts in their community. So all adults and school-aged children throughout the state of Wisconsin are eligible to participate in the Community Achievers Program. Brian?
All right, Sophia, thanks. Brewers have some work to do. Garza will lead off for the crew as Homer Bailey back on the mound. The Brewers had the bases loaded last inning. Did get a run in on the double by Ramirez, but left the bases loaded. And then the Reds score 4 and 2 errors in the inning. The Brewers have committed 4 errors tonight. Garza has 2 of them. And his error in the top of this inning certainly set the table for Cincinnati. Garza grounded out his last time up. Reds have 5 runs on 7 hits. Brewers with a run on just 2 hits tonight against Homer Bailey. A bouncer up the middle. Cozart, big hop, and 1 away.
Hey, that brings us to tonight's time of the game winner. Red Rock Saloon in Milwaukee, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Well, it's great to see all these guys, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah.
Great to have Robin Yount, Craig Counsell, the commissioner. Bud Selig joined us in the booth. Greg Vaughn. He looks like he could still play.
Man, big man, yeah. He can hit them. And all great guys. I mean, they love to be around baseball. They love to be around each other. And you know, the stories that you can tell, I'll tell you.
Scooter Gennett at the plate tonight, presented by Wendy's. Had a single his first time up. Now the Wall of Honor will be there for everyone to enjoy. Open to public viewing. There's always a little bit of information underneath each image of the player that is represented. So good way to spend some time before a ball game. Tailgating. You pop over there. You share some memories. Look at some of the players on the Wall of Honor. I think that was the idea. They had a great ceremony before the game today. Brewers really did a nice job. The run of show this afternoon as Gennett strikes out. 2 quick outs for Homer Bailey. It's his 4th. Carsoup.com trivia question. Ryan Braun is the highest career average in franchise history. Who is second? It's a good question. Braun, a career .311 hitter. He's hitting .293 this season. 0 for 1 tonight. He was also hit by a pitch, so he's reached base. Just 3 at home, 3 quick ones, and then the Brewers are back on the road Monday against the Diamondbacks. So make sure you come see us. Tickets are going fast for tomorrow and Sunday's game. No television on Fox Sports Wisconsin tomorrow. The game tomorrow is on Fox National Television with Tom Brenneman and CJ Nitkowski on the call. Tom's right next door, working for Reds TV tonight. He promised he'd be fair and balanced tomorrow, though.
He always is, isn't he?
Always. There's
He's
Tom.
Good. Yeah, he's a good one.
Boy, oh boy.
Does a great job on the NFL.
Yes, he does. And Braun strikes out. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Bailey. Now with 5 Ks, it's 5-1 Cincinnati. And the roof is all closed up. Reds have a 5-1 lead now after they scored 4 in the 5th. Our aerial coverage tonight provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. 5-1. We go to the 6th inning. Matt Garza still on the mound. It's just been a troubling defensive game for the Brewers. In Milwaukee, I think one of the themes of the road trip, Rock, was how good defensively they were. But think about this. In the last 2 games, they've committed 6 errors. So all of a sudden.
I think we came on the air yesterday in New York talking about how good the defense has been.
That's on us, you mean?
Yeah.
Just like the long game yesterday is on you.
Yeah.
I get it.
Man,
I can understand.
I'll take it. I went out on a limb and lost.
And that limb snapped right in half.
Yeah.
Bouncing ball right to Reynolds. Schumacher is out on 1 pitch. All right, Rock, it's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag WisFanPhoto. Have a chance to show it in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by AT&T. That's one thing we haven't been doing. We haven't been snapping photos of all of our esteemed guests.
Right.
It's kind of bad form, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Don't want to be that guy.
Doing a selfie with the commissioner?
I really wanted to with Robin Yount, but felt like that was stretching it a little bit.
No, you don't want to do that. They might not want to come back.
That's a good point. Wonder who else is going to stop by tonight.
I've sent out a couple of texts to some of my old buddies.
Doors open.
See if they're willing to come on with us. We'll see. I think they're having a pretty good time down in one of those suites. I don't think that, in the morning they might not be looking at their phone.
Right.
Number 2, they might not want to come on television.
There's been a little bit of time for social hour, you say.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's something to consider, and that could also be something entertaining.
Got some cordials down there. You could always have Augie on. I mean, he's now in the Wall of Honor.
Right.
He's a pro.
That's how we should introduce Augie from now on. Wall of Honor inductee Jerry Augustine. He was front and central today on the way out to the field when they introduced everybody. Second only to Hank Aaron.
Tough act to follow.
They went in alphabetical order. And
yeah.
Augie had to run out on the field under the wash of the Hank Aaron standing ovation. I get goosebumps when I see Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, we've seen him a few times over the years.
He commands a presence when he's around, doesn't he?
He really does.
You know you're amongst greatness when he's in the room.
We really appreciate him coming back, too. He loves Milwaukee, by the way. Loves it. Raves about the city from his playing days, from his days after baseball, his relationship with the commissioner and Bob Uecker. Full count to Zach Cozart. Pitch number 7 is inside, a ball. So a 1-out base runner.
Hey, book your tickets to see Carlos Gomez, Ryan Braun, and the rest of the Brew Crew as their division rivals continue their series with the Cincinnati Reds at Miller Park tomorrow and Sunday. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com today. And hurry. I think I left out a couple of words there.
That's okay. You had a late night last night. You want to do it again?
No. I think I'll mess it up again.
What were the words you left out?
I gave it back to Renee. One and done, pal. Just like our live opens.
Bailey gets a bunt down, and Garza wants no part of it. Garza acted as if he saw a snake right there. He's running as far away from that ball as he could. And Reynolds makes the play for the second out. Watch Garza here.
Yeah, corner infielders are on notice. They'll take everything. Garza doesn't even go after it. And that's a pitcher's play right there. That's about as close to the pitcher's mound as you can get. Garza doesn't even offer at it.
How do you get over that, Rock?
I don't know.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you get into crunch time in a pennant race. You get into the postseason. You know teams are going to try to do it. They're going to try to bunt. The Reds have had this game plan all night of trying to bunt back to the pitcher.
But up until tonight, it really hasn't been much of an issue for him. I mean, he made a bad throw earlier in the season here at Miller Park on a double play opportunity, but most of his throws have been pretty good. This tonight has been a little bit concerning. There's a cross up.
And it's a strike, and Lucroy fortunate to catch that ball. It was headed right for his chest.
Yeah, he was looking breaking pitch, and when you get a fastball when you're expecting curveball, that's when you can get hurt. Watch the way he goes after it.
Oh, man.
Able to catch it right down the middle. Does Marvin Hudson call it or not? Yes, he did.
He did. No balls and a strike. Lucroy fortunate that didn't hit the bare hand. It gives you a great sense of why Lucroy's such a good hitter, though, huh?
Yeah.
He's able to adjust to that, not knowing it's coming, and still catch it. There's the curveball.
If you're looking fastball and you get curveball, you have a chance to catch it. It's not going to really bother you too much. Just like hitting. If you're sitting fastball, you get breaking pitch, you can adjust to that. But if you're looking for something soft and you get something firm, like a fastball like the one Garza has, that's the time when it's going to get a piece of you. Or the umpire. That's why very rarely a hitter goes up there looking off speed and is able to react to fastball. Not many can do it. You know, Gorman Thomas, who was in the Wall of Honor today, always said that he went up to the plate, looked slider, and adjusted to fastball.
Really?
Don Money did it too.
Interesting. Hamilton pops it up, and it'll be Davis to make the call and the catch. Garza puts up a 0 in the 6th. 5-1. The Reds lead it. Lucroy coming up.
The one lead as we head to the 6th inning, and our Southwest Airlines non-stoppable play came in the 13th inning last night in New York. A Carlos Torres hanging curveball to Jonathan Lucroy, a 2-run shot. And Brewers would add a couple of more with it to a 5-1 victory in 13 innings.
Well, see if the Brewers can march their way back tonight. Homer Bailey's only given up 2 hits. He ran into a roadblock in the 3rd. He allowed 3 walks. Gave up an RBI double to Aramis Ramirez. Problem was the 4 consecutive base runners in that inning came with 2 outs. So at any moment Bailey was that close to getting out of the inning. He did get out of the inning on a pop-up by Falou. Twice in Minnesota the Brewers came back from 4-run deficits. This is the ballpark to do it. We'll see if the Brewers can get their bats going here. Good way to start it with Lucroy at the plate. Gomez to follow, then Ramirez. And a bouncing ball, backhanded Cozart, sets his feet, long throw, not in time. Lucroy legs one out, infield hit. Heck of a play by Cozart, but Lucroy hustling down the line.
Yeah, they're taking some time to see if the Reds might want to look at this and take a review. Pretty close over there at first base. Brian Honor's had a couple of close calls tonight. But Zach Cozart, as good as it gets, he's got good range and a terrific throwing arm over there at shortstop.
It's impressive how he stopped on a dime and made that throw. And no challenge coming. So Lucroy with an infield hit that extends his hitting streak to 9 in a row. And here is Gomez. Brewers could use a quick strike. Well, getting Homer Bailey in the stretch. He's been a different pitcher. He hasn't had to pitch a whole lot from the stretch here tonight. They got him in the stretch in the 4th inning, and that's when all the trouble came. Gomez walked in the 4th and then scored the lone Brewers run on the double by Ramirez. Jam shot out to Cozart to second for 1. Phillips the turn in time for the out. Double play.
Yeah, tough to double up Carlos Gomez, but Cozart got rid of that ball very quickly. And Brandon Phillips about as good as it gets at turning the double play. This is the best defensive team in all of baseball this year, the Cincinnati Reds.
And Brandon Phillips with 4 Gold Gloves on his mantle, including last year's Gold Glove. It'll be Aramis Ramirez with 2 away. Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery. Ramirez driving one off the wall in left center, and Gomez racing all the way around from first base to score. And at the time, it tied the game at 1. The Reds would come back in the next half inning and score 4 runs. That's where we sit in a 5-1 Cincinnati lead.
Did you know it was a full moon tonight?
I did not.
A full moon on Friday the 13th. You know how that's very rare.
It's lucky, man. Lucky to get a full moon on Friday the 13th.
Last time it happened, October 13th, 2000.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
And you know when the next one's going to be? Full moon on Friday the 13th.
Yes. When's that going to be?
August 13th, 2049.
All right. We'll put that in the calendar.
Don't you find that interesting? You're being a little bit dismissive here.
No, 2049 is the next one. I find that fascinating. I mean, you're not only bringing baseball analysis, you're interviewing greats, the commissioner of baseball, you're bringing fun facts to the table.
That's the kind of way my mind works. I mean, full moon, Friday the 13th, that can't happen all that often.
Well, and as a matter of fact, it doesn't.
It doesn't. You're right.
Nice going. As Ramirez strikes out. No Gibbuses here. No waiting, no waxes, no waxing. It's just full, and it's beautiful. here. Brewers dropped 3 out of 4 in Cincinnati earlier this season. Carsoup.com trivia question. Remember, Ryan Braun is the highest career average in franchise history. Who is second?
Cirillo, isn't it?
Jeff Cirillo is Rock's guess. The answer is Jeff Cirillo. 307 average.
Couldn't make it today. Wall of Honor ceremony.
Cirillo is a scout with the Angels on assignment today. And Ryan Braun is obviously active. That could change. So among the retired players, Cirillo has the highest batting average. It's a pretty good list of names there. Paul Molitor is with the Twins as a coach, so he was not able to be here. But Cecil Cooper and Robin Yount both in attendance as the Brewers unveiled the brand new Wall of Honor on the north side of the stadium. Matt Garza back to work. We go to the 7th. It's been a strange night. A Friday the 13th full moon kind of night.
And now you know why, right? Doesn't happen all that often. About every 20 years on average.
Brewers have committed 4 errors tonight. Garza has 2 of them. And they both come in to score. Todd Frazier has 2 hits. And he scored 2 runs. He drove in a run in the 5th. He's having a great year. Could easily see him at third base in the All-Star game. Todd Frazier. Little League World Series star, Toms River, New Jersey. Todd Frazier. He was a pitcher then too. Right off his toe. I mean, you look at Garza's stuff tonight. It's hard to believe he's down 4 runs at this point. Obviously, the errors have been huge. His own errors have been the most costly of the errors as well. And that's got to be frustrating for a pitcher to feel like you have good stuff. You know, you're on your game as far as your pitching goes. It's just been the other parts of his game
right
that have struggled. There's a bouncer to short. Falou. And that's a bad throw too. Reynolds makes the tag for the out. Falou has had a couple of poor throws today.
It's been a while since he's been out there. Hadn't been able to play too much short. Gene Segura's out there just about every day. Hey, nothing says summer like Brewers baseball in the State Fair. Get 1 Terrace Reserve ticket to a select Brewers game and 1 general admission ticket to the Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular. For just $15, visit brewers.com/state fair. That's for just $15.
I see.
Not 14. I have no idea why I said 14.
Well, tomorrow's June 14th.
I think maybe you should do the promos tonight. It's been a rough one.
I'll get them.
It's been a rough one tonight.
Yeah, it's that kind of day. He's got to push through. Votto takes a strike.
Spending too much time looking up full moons on Friday the 13th.
You did expend a little energy doing that. You got to save your bullets over there, man.
That should.
Joey Votto had a base hit his last time up, drove in a run. So Matt Garza has given up 5 runs. Only 1 run is earned. Has a walk, a strikeout, but they all count, and it's got Garza and the Brewers down 4. Cincinnati going through some of the issues the Brewers dealt with last year, losing some of their key pieces for significant stretches. Last year, the Brewers without their 3, 4, and 5 hitter for most of the season. Brian Price taking over for Dusty Baker. But Cincinnati feels like they're getting those pieces back together now. Votto's back in the lineup. Bruce returned last month.
Yeah, they feel now like they can actually have an evaluation period for this ball club. They got Matt Latos coming back from the disabled list, making his first start tomorrow. Chapman's back, so the bullpen's been much better.
They just don't feel like a team that is 3 under as Votto goes up the middle. Falou again. And there's a good throw for out number 2. Now, their record is not indicative of the team that they are if they stay healthy. They're just too talented to be under 500. You can understand why. They've had a lot of injuries. They dealt with a thinned out roster. They lost their closer Chapman for a good part of the early schedule. He's back and dominating again.
They say that Chapman's come up with a changeup. What's he throw that about 91 miles an hour?
90, right. 10 miles an hour softer than his blazing fastball. He's been impressive in that line drive he took off the head, the forehead, and the face in spring training, and he's come back and hasn't shown any signs of concern, hasn't flinched at all. As a matter of fact, he's pitching inside more because of it, and developed another pitch. That was a gruesome injury when it happened in spring training. That was against the Royals this spring while we were out there as well.
Yeah, the physical scars sometimes you can get over a lot quicker than the mental part of that, not wanting to get hit again. You can understand why. It's amazing that doesn't happen more often.
Yep.
As close as these guys are when they get rid of the baseball.
Well, they've been tinkering with a pitcher's helmet, something that is not so helmet-like but has a lining inside the hat that would protect the pitchers. It just hasn't been able to go. I mean, pitchers, it's so uncomfortable to wear, from what I understand, that's going to be a tough sell. Probably going to have to start something like that at the youth level, and have guys grow up with it.
Get used to it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to ever be able to get a professional pitcher just to start wearing it.
But then that doesn't protect the face.
Right. 2-2 to Phillips. Fouls one off again.
I guess there's only so far you can go to try and protect people.
It's going to be injuries in the game.
Accidents are going to happen. Just think of the day in baseball when they didn't even have batting helmets.
There was a day in baseball when the catchers didn't even wear catcher's equipment. No mask, no shin guards, no chest protectors. That's when they stood back behind home plate. That's when they were truly the hind catcher. They would wait for the ball to roll on in.
So why do they call it the tools of ignorance?
There they are.
Pretty smart.
All of those things began to be introduced, and the catcher began to move up under the hitter. Pitcher started to throw overhand, sidearm, and then to overhand. Couldn't even break the plane of your shoulder at one point in the game. Back when the Cincinnati Reds were the first professional team, you had to throw it under your shoulder, sidearm or below. Game's evolved. It's a great game. But the modern era of baseball, last 100 or so years, and that's why you're able to link one generation to the next. Commissioner Selig was talking about that.
Yeah.
Numbers stack up so well, and
hey, I wonder who's going to be the next commissioner. I mean, I'm sure that there's a search process in place.
You going to put your hat in that ring? That's a big job.
Yes, it is. A lot to deal with.
NBA has just made a transition in the commissioner's role. NFL a few years back. 3-2 to Phillips. On the ground is Scooter Gennett, and Matt Garza is through the 7th. He's gone 7. We'll see if the Brewers can get the bats going. Out the barrel in Milwaukee. Now don't forget, tomorrow it's a full day of MLB action, beginning with the Twins and the Tigers on Fox Sports 1. And then it's baseball night in America on Fox as the Reds will match up against the Brew Crew in Game 2 of this series. MLB doubleheader begins Saturday, 3 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1. Continues 6 Central, only on Fox. So if you're hunting the Brewers Reds tomorrow on Fox Sports Wisconsin, you won't find it. You can catch it on the Brewers Radio Network or go to Fox and watch the national broadcast of these two division rivals. Bottom of the 7th. Chris Davis will lead off against Homer Bailey, who has allowed just 3 hits. 1 run thus far through the first 6 innings. Reds have 5 runs, 4 unearned runs against Matt Garza tonight. 4 errors by the Brewers. 2 by Garza.
Last time the Brewers committed 4 errors, they won a game in Pittsburgh.
There you go.
And that doesn't happen often.
Davis into right field. That ball's hit deep. And it is gone. Chris Davis. Opposite field bomb. And it's 5-2 Cincinnati. Number 11 for Davis.
A strong young man who lets that ball travel. Boy, he's swinging the bat well. What a difference in Davis now as opposed to the month of April. Just watch how quiet he is when he starts his swing. Nice and easy. Gets good extension on a pitch that's away from him and drives it out of here. I mean, that was way back and right. Off the facing of the second deck.
Wow. Incredible power. Davis with his first hit has a walk tonight as well. And now the Brewers within 3 with Mark Reynolds coming up. Good way to start an inning as Bailey zips one on the inside corner. Reynolds didn't agree with that call. Davis has 11 home runs, 7 homers in his last 22 games. He is on quite a tear. One and 2 on Reynolds. One of the 3 left stranded in the 4th inning. Brewers had the bases loaded with 2 outs as Falou popped up to end it. He's 0 for 1, strikeout and a walk. And back inside, Bailey missed barely. 2-2.
Still has good velocity on that fastball. That one at 95.
Reynolds, a base hit. Had the shift on, and Reynolds beat it. Between Votto and the line, that'll be a single. And let's take you back to the Chris Davis swing for the home run.
And just watch Davis, nice and quiet, and boom, those lightning quick hands, able to knock that one way back and right. Not many right-handers get him up there. Anyway, he keeps those hands close to the body. Makes good contact, and look at the follow through, down and through, and same swing, just waited a little bit longer on a pitch away from him.
And he is 2 off the club high, Davis, on the Powerball home run leaderboard. Mark Reynolds is the leader. Gomez is there. Braun has 9. Davis is interesting in that he has such great power to the opposite field, but he really steps in the bucket at the plate, so he's wide open at home plate.
Well, the foot might go toward third base, but if the shoulder stays closed, you're all right. If both the shoulder and the foot go toward third base, good luck on the pitch away. But you stay close to that shoulder, you're going to be fine.
Let's check in with Sophia with more on Chris Davis.
Well, Chris Davis may have gotten some pointers from none other than Hank Aaron. It was a cool moment after the ceremony on the field. Davis went through his normal stretching, went up to Hank Aaron, who was sitting in the golf cart for the ceremony, shook his hand, they spoke briefly, and even took a picture with him right there on the field. So it'll be interesting to catch up with Davis to see what kind of conversation he had with Mr. Aaron.
A selfie with Hank Aaron. Got a little hitting tip, too. That's another thing I like about Chris Davis. He seeks people out to talk about hitting, and when you've got Hank Aaron in the ballpark, I think a lot of guys are intimidated to go talk to him, but
right.
Davis bold enough to go say hello.
Very willing to talk to young players, but he's not going to chase him down, tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, I got something for you here.
Well, Hank has told us before he really enjoys that. He loves being able to talk about the game with big leaguers that are currently playing.
And not that he knows a whole lot about the swing of Chris Davis, but he knows generally, hitting and how it applies to just about every hitter.
Irving Falou to left field, right at Schumacher. Hit it hard. But an out, the first out of the inning. Oh, remember earlier in the broadcast, our AT&T fan photo of the game. Here is the result of that. It comes from Cody. A sweet little ball and glove tattoo on his hand. Nice going, Cody. Think that's permanent?
I was thinking the same thing. Hi, my name is Cody.
That's a good Twitter handle. Just make sure you include the hashtag #WisFanPhoto, and then you can be like Cody and get your picture on the air. It's going to be the end of the line for Matt Garza. Logan Schaefer will pinch hit. Mike Fiers loosing in the bullpen. So Garza goes 7 innings, 5 runs, 1 earned run. On the hook for the loss as of now. The Brewers offense would love to change that. Schaefer up with 1 away. Haven't seen a whole lot of Schaefer as Davis has gotten hot at the plate. Relegated to pinch hitter duties for the most part on the last road trip. Schaefer had just 5 at-bats on the road trip in 8 games. Was 0 for 5. Schaefer, a shot through the hole, a base hit.
Well, the Brewers pounding away at Homer Bailey now. 6 hits for him. And Logan Schaefer doing exactly what you see from Scooter Gennett quite frequently. They're taking a pitch outer half, getting on top of it, and hitting a line drive toward the left field left field area and get a base hit.
First pinch hit this season for Logan Schaefer, and the end of the line for Homer Bailey, as the manager Brian Price will take the ball from his starter. To the Reds bullpen we go. We'll take a timeout. Exits with 2 runners on his responsibility. First and second for Milwaukee with 1 away. A run is in. And with the tying run coming up, Rockets going to be Sam LeCure out of the Cincinnati bullpen.
Yeah, last pitch on Tuesday against the Dodgers through an inning and 2/3, allowing only 1 run. Good earned run average of 245. And that includes an outing against Philly. That was last Friday. Allowed a season high 4 runs. So LeCure has been good this year. One of 4 right-handers out of that Reds bullpen.
Cincinnati's bullpen in great shape because yesterday Alfredo Simon went 8 innings as the starter picked up his 9th win, which is leading the National League. Chapman was used yesterday, but everybody else had a day of rest, so they're fully loaded for Brian Price. It's Reynolds at second. He had a single. Schaefer had a single. Both opposite field hits. And here's Scooter Gennett. Tying run at the plate. Brewers have a run in. Slow breaking ball from LeCure. Earlier tonight, the Cardinals beat the Nationals at home. Jordan Zimmerman, Wisconsin native, pitched a terrific ball game for Washington. 8 innings and 1 run, but lost. Lance Lynn and Trevor Rosenthal combined for the 2-hit shutout in a game that took 2 hours and 3 minutes to play. 2-0 to Gennett.
Yeah, an average fastball, 2-seam. He's got some good sink, and that overhand curveball that he tried to get strike 1 to Gennett. He missed. Well, the Brewers are right where they want to be in their batting order with a couple of men on. So at the bottom of the order doing a nice job setting the table.
Well, this is a spot. If you look ahead to Braun, Gennett can do some damage. And the 2-0, and Gennett lines one to right. Base hit. Reynolds around third. He'll score. Schaefer into third. As Scooter Gennett makes it 5-3 Cincinnati.
Well, don't go anywhere. How about this Brew Crew? A 2-0 fastball. Gennett gets one up in the strike zone. LeCure forced to throw a strike right down the middle, and a nice swing by Gennett. So Scooter has base hits to left and a base hit to right tonight. And look at that belt buckle. Belt buckle hits, then hands, then barrel the bat off the end just a little bit. But able to stay down and through. Nice level swing and lines it into right field.
That is a beautiful swing. Well, Renicky has certainly pushed the right leadoff button this year, whether it be Gomez in the beginning of the year, Segura, who was hot for a while in that position, and now Scooter Gennett. Well, now the Brewers have the tying run on base, the go-ahead run at the plate in this 7th inning, and Ryan Braun. Braun is 0 for 2. Was hit by a pitch in the first.
And that fastball for LeCure only 88, 89 miles an hour tonight. He gets up there a little bit better than that.
Over 38,000 on hand tonight, looking for some action here in the 7th. 2 runs already in. Gennett takes off. Mesoraco's throw to second is late. Stolen base. Second and third with 1 away.
Yep, eliminates the double play possibility. And a base hit probably is going to tie the game. Big lead for Gennett. Average jump. And Mesoraco's throw on the money, but a little bit late.
4th stolen base for Scooter Gennett.
That's about as big a lead as you're going to get. Average jump and in safely big stolen base.
And now a base hit by Braun could tie it up. Best arm in the Reds outfield is in right with Jay Bruce. Lucroy due next. Homer Bailey started the inning. Gave up 3 hits, including that home run by Chris Davis to start it. Opposite field homer. Sam LeCure comes in to face Gennett, gives up a hit, and now Braun at the plate. Imperative the Brewers get that run home from third. He's there with less than 2 outs. They're hoping for a whole lot more. But at least got to get one in the air to the outfield. Matter of fact, Reds have their infield back. They'll concede the run. And Braun strikes out. Mesoraco secures it at first. Well, you just don't see Ryan Braun do that very often. That is a huge out as Braun chases one in the dirt.
Yeah, a big curveball. LeCure, that's his bread and butter. Locates it well down in the dirt. Mesoraco able to block it, and a big out for the Reds.
Two outs. And here comes Lucroy. Reds do have a base open at first, but if they walk Lucroy or pitch around him to walk him, it would put the go-ahead runner on base in the 7th inning and a dangerous hitter next in Gomez. We'll see how they go about it. Lucroy probably the best guy the Brewers have in a spot like this. 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. And a strike from Lucroy, or rather from LeCure. .310 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, Rockies hitting .423.
He understands who the pressure's on. It's the pitcher, and Lucroy takes what the pitcher gives him. Not trying to pull it, not trying to hit homers, just needs a base hit here.
Lucroy got a hanging breaking ball yesterday, hit a home run in the 13th inning to give the Brewers the lead. Ball and a strike. Mike Fiers was loosening. Now that the game is a little closer, it's Zach Duke, the lefty, and Rob Wooten, the right-hander. Garza was pinch hit for by Schaefer. who is currently at third base. Lucroy is 11 for 26 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Those are big time numbers, way above league average in spots like this.
Well, one of the reasons you see that defense pretty much straight away, they can't put the shift on because he shoots the ball all over the field. Not very predictable up there at the plate.
And a tapper, third base, coming in fast as Frazier, throw to first, not in time. Infield hit, RBI, Jonathan Lucroy. It's 5-4 Cincinnati.
He puts the ball in play. That's the other thing he does very well. It's tough to strike out. Another reason why he's good in these spots. And Lucroy has shown his speed a couple of times tonight. Little dribbler right in front of home plate. Frazier coming in, just can't get enough on the throw to get him. Making contact, vital in those spots. You can see that one right off the edge of the plate. Little nubber down the third baseline.
And the second infield hit. Kyle Lowe says, I see you. Nerd power. Lucroy's new battle cry. Tying run at third now. Lucroy the go-ahead run. Here's Gomez, always looking to swing. And Carlos lines it foul. You just knew he was going to hack. He was ready to raise the roof here at Miller Park.
Anything catchable, you're right. He's ready for the fastball for sure.
Book is closed on Bailey, by the way, with Schaefer scoring 6 1/3, 4 earned runs. His 2 runners on base belong to LeCure. Context on what you saw from the players in the dugout. Lucroy did an article with Ken Rosenthal at FoxSports.com, and all the Brewers calling Lucroy basically a nerd. He's the nerdiest guy on the team. So they all put on glasses, send some tweets out. Whatever works. Gomez into left field. That's going to hook foul. Waited as long as he could on a 74-mile-an-hour pitch. He's down in the count 0-2, and he's barking at himself.
Yeah. Very difficult when you hook a fastball as far foul as Gomez did on the first swing. Awfully difficult to keep a curveball fair.
Now Gomez in protect mode, down 0-2. Like Lucroy, just trying to put the ball in play. 5-4 Cincinnati, tying run at third. And Gomez lines one left field. It's down. Jeanette scores. Lucroy on his way to third. He'll stop there. It's a double for Gomez, and we are tied at 5.
Well, how about these guys? Road weary, got in about 3 o'clock this morning, and they're not going to give up. Battling back here in the 7th inning. Getting that curveball, waiting back just a little bit better, but hooking it down the left field line. Well, the Brewers answer the Reds 4 runs in the 5th with a 4-run 7th. And we're all tied. The way he really tries to keep that bat in the hitting zone as long as he can. The body out in front. Able to stay back long enough to keep it fair.
Double number 19. Time to start putting Gomez in the MVP discussion in the month of June. He's having a great year. He ties it up. Pitching change here for Brian Price. First-time All-Star. He has extended his hitting streak to 11 games. Drives in his 38th run of the season with a clutch double that ties this one up. The Brewers have come all the way back from down 5-1, and they have tied it at 5 here in the 7th. And the new hurler for the Cincinnati Reds, Logan Ondrusek.
Yeah, 21st appearance for Ondrusek, a .391 earned run average. Ondrusek very familiar with throwing multiple innings out of the bullpen. Last pitched on Wednesday against the Dodgers in a game the Reds would win 5-0. He pitched a third of an inning, walked a batter, also struck out a batter, used 18 pitches. And right-handers better against Ondrusek than lefties. Right-handers hitting over .320 against him.
6 hits in the inning. RBIs from Scooter Gennett, Jonathan Lucroy, Carlos Gomez. Davis started the inning with a home run. And the 9th batter of the inning, Aramis Ramirez, with runners at second and third. The Brewers can take the lead, and if they do, they could give Matt Garza a chance to win this game. Ondrusek delivers low, ball 1 to Ramirez. Aramis doubled in the first run for the Brewers in the 4th. He whistled one off the left center field wall. Gomez scored all the way from first base. Big numbers with 2 outs and runners in scoring position for Ramirez as well. Who had a good cut.
Had a good one to hit. 92 miles an hour right down the middle of the plate. I'd like to have that one again. This one splits home plate right in half. Just a little bit underneath.
Put the barrel on it, didn't he? Just a touch under it. Right off the mask of Mesoraco. Wow. How about the impact that those catchers deal with on foul tips?
And look out for the bat.
1 ball, 1 strike. Second and third, 2 outs. Ondrusek delivers, and Ramirez a bouncer to short. Cozart will make the play for the out. The inning is over, but the Brewers come all the way back. They score 4. Davis started it with a home run. Scooter Gennett drives in a run. And then it was Lucroy, the infield hit. And the big one, Carlos Gomez, a double to tie it. 5-5. We go to the 8th. Score 4 on 6 hits in the bottom of the 7th inning. A brand new ball game here, all tied at 5, and it'll be Zach Duke, the left-hander, out of the Brewers bullpen. Jay Bruce is set to lead off, and we'll see if Duke is only on to face one batter or if Frenicky will let him roll. Marshfield Clinic leaders in relief, and Rock the Brewers have been used a lot in their bullpen. The particulars in the winning version of games or tie version of games, but they've been used smartly by Ron Renicky at an inning at a time.
Not big chunks of innings in any particular outing, so they're able to pitch quite often. You can probably use them 2-3 days in a row. Zach Duke, matter of fact, picked up his 4th win of the year last night. He pitched a perfect 12th inning that included a strikeout. 4-0 out of the bullpen for Duke. 34 punch-outs in just a little over 26 innings of work.
Now 3 of those wins for Duke have come in extra inning games. He enters in here in the 8th as Jay Bruce takes strike 1. Well, what an inning for the Brewers. Ballpark was quiet, 38,000, watching the Reds take advantage of 4 Brewers errors defensively, 2 by Garza, and just had a bit of a lackluster night going here until the offense came alive.
Yeah, all started with Chris Davis. He got the crowd going, got the Brewer bats going. It always seems to be somebody different every night for this offense. Tonight it's Davis to jumpstart the offense.
Excuse me, on a night when the Cardinals have won 1-0. Brewers trying to maintain their 5.5 game lead in the division. Brewers picked up a half a game yesterday. St. Louis was off yesterday. Zach Duke, plenty of experience against the Reds, pitching in this division with Pittsburgh. Used to be a starter with the Pirates. Dips down sidearm and strikes him out. Zach Duke from down under.
That adjustment in his delivery has made a big difference in his career. Actually resurrected his career. Check this out. A lot of times he'll throw the slider when he drops down like that. That fastball right on the outside corner to get the out. That is a tough angle for a left-handed hitter.
Well, it's got a little velocity to it as well, so it makes it tough. And he'll throw a breaking ball from down there as well. He's throwing at 3/4 to sidearm rocket 90-91 miles an hour.
Yeah. And that's about what he was throwing when he was throwing over the top as a starter, so it hasn't affected his velocity at all.
Devin Mesoraco with 1 away.
And he would be able to pitch like that even back in the turn of the century.
That's right. He'd be legal underneath.
Not over the shoulder.
Right. One and 2 to count. Took a little off, and Mesoraco couldn't wait back long enough. Bit of a quick start that time from Zach Duke. Sidearm delivery, missed down and in.
And just doing anything he can to keep these hitters off balance. Not allowing to time them out. And that's what pitching's all about. Disrupting timing.
And a defensive swing. Lucroy has to secure it at first. Does so. And a strikeout for Duke. Boy, he's given the Reds all kinds of different looks. Back-to-back strikeouts.
Hey, ladies, join the crew for a girls' night out. That's Saturday, July 26th, as the Brewers take on the New York Mets. Enjoy an evening of fashion in Miller Park's exclusive Gale Club with the latest apparel, merchandise discounts, a complimentary gift bag, and more. For details, visit brewers.com/brewed-for-her.
2 outs. Zach Duke facing Skip Schumacher. Schumacher is 0 for 3. Reached on an error in the second inning. One of 4 errors tonight by the Brew Crew. There's a breaking ball fouled away.
4 errors and still have a chance to win. Just like they did back in Pittsburgh.
That's something.
Yeah, give away that many runs and still have a tie game in the 8th inning. You got to feel fortunate.
Reds scored 4 runs in the 5th. 2 errors in that inning. And the Brewers answered with 4 in the bottom of the 7th. Brewers have out hit Cincinnati 9-7. And a bouncing ball. Jeanette, nice easy hop. Schumacher is out, and Zach Duke does a terrific job. A scoreless 8th with a couple of Ks, and now KD, Kid Crush, ready to lead off.
We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Brewers set to bat, and boy, this day really started out in spectacular fashion with the unveiling of the Wall of Honor for the Brewers. The shaping of this ballpark going all the way back to 1970. 58 individuals were sought out, including some Hall of Famers as well.
Boy, it certainly was. What a great idea by the Brewers to do this, and how befitting. You see Hank Aaron, Robin Yount, a lot of the players, Richie Sexton, Billy Sheets, guys from each era, and it was outstanding. I certainly enjoyed being down there in the tent with these guys talking to them.
I have to chuckle because I know Bob Uecker intentionally dropped that throw by Seelig because he came up and told us in the press box. He had to have a good laugh, but good night all around. And hey, let's cap it off with a Brewer victory. We got Brewers Live postgame on the way in a tie ball game right now, Brian.
Yeah, all even at 5. Thanks, Craig and Davey. Here is Jonathan Broxton, Cincinnati's setup man, coming in a tie game in the 8th. Chris Davis will start it for the Brewers. He led off the 7th inning with a home run. Brewers batted around in the 7th, scoring 4 runs on 6 hits.
Yeah, Broxton putting together a nice season, a nice comeback season for him. Last pitched on Wednesday against the Dodgers, and pitched an inning of 2 2/3 of scoreless baseball.
Two 2-0 on Davis.
Broxton used to be a guy that could touch 98 miles an hour. Not anymore.
It's a closer with the Dodgers. Lost his way with L.A. and then reinvented himself as a setup man with Cincinnati. Gives the Reds a great 1-2 punch at the end of games. But the Brewers in a tie game, you'd rather face them in a spot like that, as Davis just got under one. And Hamilton will make the catch for the out. One away.
And Broxton with 5 saves on the year. I guess doing a decent job while Chapman was out.
One gone for Broxton. Here is Mark Reynolds. Had a little cue shot single down the first base and right field line. It just squirted past Joey Votto, and I was curious to see if the Reds would give him that line again, and they will. Expecting Reynolds to pull the baseball for the most part. They've got Cozart covering the hole between short and third as well.
Reds really don't do the big shifting. Not like we've seen some of the teams. I mean, Reynolds is a guy that some teams have that exaggerated shift with the second baseman way swung around toward the third base side of the bag. Not the Reds.
Well, now that Aramis Ramirez is back, Mark Reynolds will share the duties over at first base with Overbay, and he'll make an occasional start at third as well. Ramirez, not a guy who will play every day at this point of his career, every single day. Needs an occasional day off. The 1-1. Reynolds takes it. Ball 2.
The name of the Brewers don't have a day off for a while now. Had a day off between the Pittsburgh and Mets series. Ramirez has been able to stay in that lineup just about every day since coming off the disabled list. And they need him in the lineup.
Brewers in a stretch of 20 consecutive games without a day off. And a swing and a miss. 2-2. Next off day for Milwaukee will be June 30th. At the end of the next homestand. Also be a travel day to Toronto that day. Two balls, 2 strikes. Tie ball game here in the 8th. And Reynolds in the air to left field. Did he get it? Back is Schumacher at the track. Makes the catch. Off the end of the bat, but he's got enough power to send Schumacher deep. Just needed a little more of the barrel. 2 up and 2 down. Phantom Cam will show you where he hit it.
And just let the hands drift a little bit, and just enough to keep it in the ballpark. Got it on the barrel, but just didn't have the trigger and the load to drive it out of the ballpark, but still hit it pretty well.
Well, here is Irving Falou getting the start for Gene Segura tonight. Falou starting at short. He's 0 for 3. And shows bunt again. He showed bunt his last at bat. Segura is certainly available to hit. Got a bat in his hands right now. But a day off from the starting lineup.
Man, Ron Renneke, pretty good sense of when a guy needs a day off, just to sit back and take it all in. Segura hadn't been swinging the bat all that well, so Renneke gives him tonight off. Will probably be back in the lineup tomorrow.
And there's ball 3. Falou just turned 31 last week, but does not have a whole lot of big league experience. He's been one of those guys kind of stuck in AAA. That was with the Royals. Brewers signed him this year. He'd never known an organization other than Kansas City.
Pretty good chance he's taking this one.
I would imagine. Maybe a couple, huh?
Get on first base, maybe steal a bag. You can run on Broxton, just got to get on first base first.
And it's ball 4. Wow, Broxton walks Irving Falou. A 2-out walk. And now we'll face Ricky Weeks, who will pinch hit.
Well, 3 remain on the bench for Renicky. That's Overbay. He's a left-handed batter. Then Segura and Maldonado.
Jeff Pico, the pitching coach, on his way out to talk with Broxton.
Yeah, probably talking a little bit of scouting report. The other discussion perhaps is reminding his pitcher to hold Falou close. He represents the go-ahead run, and the Brewers would love to see him get to second base.
Falou has been a big base stealer in the minor leagues. He's never had a big league stolen base. Had a couple of 30 stolen base seasons in the minors. Had 20 last year. So he can do it. We'll see if Renicky puts him in motion here. Ricky Weeks has the kind of power to give the Brewers the lead quickly. 5-5 game, all tied, bottom of the 8th, 2 outs. And Weeks takes a strike.
See that big high leg kick of Jonathan Broxton. That'll give a base runner a pretty good head start if he decides to run. Falou doesn't have a very big lead.
Weeks has done a pretty good job as a pinch hitter this year, hitting .292 off the bench. He is 7 for 24. And a check on Falou. Big Jonathan Broxton. No balls and a strike on Weeks. And Ricky, little squibber to the mound. Broxton takes care of him, and that'll do it for the Brewers in the 8th. To the 9th we go, all tied at 5. Is our Toyota game summary. Reds had a big inning in the 5th. They scored 4 runs. The Brewers committed 2 errors in that inning. And then with the Reds up 5-1, Milwaukee comes storming back with 4 in the 7th. They batted around 4 runs on 6 hits. Started with a Chris Davis home run. Gomez tied it with a double And that's where we sit, all even at 5. And in a tie game in the 9th at home, Renicky goes with his closer, Frankie Rodriguez.
Yeah, he pitched last night against the New York Mets. He tossed a perfect 13th inning. Has 20 saves for the 8th time in his career. Has not allowed a hit or a run over his last 6 appearances.
He is having a great season, all-star caliber season, you would think, at this point. 20 out of 22 in save opportunities. 3rd fastest in franchise history to 20 saves. Frankie Rodriguez. Zach Cozart will lead off. Cincinnati down at the bottom of their order. They'll have a pinch hitter due next. And then they go to the top in Billy Hamilton. So 8, 9, and 1 coming up. Cozart tonight has an infield hit and scored a run, and then he walked in the 6th. He's had a down year this year offensively. Was hitting leadoff last year. That spot has been reserved for Billy Hamilton this season. Did he go? They'll ask, and he was able to check it, says the crew chief. 1 ball, 1 strike. You be the judge.
That big sweeping breaking pitch, and looks like he might have held up.
Two balls and a strike. K-Rod's been pounding the strike zone this year. His command used to get him in trouble. That has not been the case this season. See what he gives him. 2-1. And he just pours one in at 90 miles an hour.
He's only walked 8 batters so far this year, which is pretty good when you consider he struck out 36. Got that radical delivery. Look like he slipped off the mound that time. Still able to throw a strike.
He gives you so much body motion out there. Elbows and knees, and it's hard to find the baseball hitters say. That one is a soft liner to left field. Davis will watch it bounce. Davis is playing deep and in the gap, and Cozart comes up with a 2-strike single, and the Reds have the go-ahead run on base to start this inning.
The first hit that he's given up in quite some time. There you see the pitching matchup tomorrow. What's on tap? Matt Latos comes off the disabled list, makes his first start of the year, and Giovanni Gallardo back on the mound. A 4-4 record, a 371 earned run average. So a good pitching matchup tomorrow.
Miller Lite, what's on tap? Don't forget tomorrow's game on Fox. National broadcast tomorrow with Gallardo and Latos, and a marquee matchup for Fox Sports.
Yeah, Giovanni was the winner in Pittsburgh in that 1-0 win that the Brewers were able to pick up in Pittsburgh on Sunday.
Ramon Santiago will pinch hit. Former Tiger. A switch hitter with a runner at first. See if he's up there to bunt. He is, and he gets the bunt down. Reynolds thought about second base. Will take the out at first.
Yeah, good choice.
Sacrifice bunt for Santiago. Go ahead to run in scoring position for the Reds.
Yeah, Reynolds thought for a second to throw to second base. Bunted a little bit too hard, but you can see Cozart would have beat it. And Reynolds gets the shore out at first.
And that'll take us back to the top of the order with Cozart at second now. It'll be Billy Hamilton. It's one of the fastest players ever in the history of the game, Billy Hamilton. Talking Deion Sanders fast. He's hitting .248 after an 0 for 4 tonight. And his on-base percentage, Rock, is .284. And you start to wonder how long the Reds are going to stick with him in the leadoff spot.
might be one of the issues that the Reds have had this year. Remember, they had Sin-Shu Chu last year, one of the best on-base percentages in all of baseball last year, over 400.
Well, he has game-changing speed. He's tried to bunt a couple of times tonight. Long look by Rodriguez and a line drive to right. Base hit. Cozart around third. Braun throwing to the plate, and it's late, and Hamilton into second. The Reds are on top. RBI base hit by Hamilton gives Cincinnati a 6-5 lead.
And Billy Hamilton having no problem getting into second base on a throw into home plate. Throw a little bit off the mark by Braun. And not a bad throw into home plate. Just a little bit up the third base line. Hey, good throw, might be interesting, but it's not.
And it allows Hamilton to go to second. So the Reds can add to their lead with a base hit. 2 hits off Rodriguez in this inning. 6-5 Cincinnati on their 9th hit.
And now you know who's getting up in that Reds bullpen.
And they got him picked off. Jeanette to Ramirez, and Hamilton's going to beat Jeanette back to the bag. Well, it's just been one of those nights defensively for the Brewers. They have not played well.
Well, it's not going to get down as an error. As a matter of fact, it's not even going to show up in the box score. Jeanette does what he has to do. He gets rid of it quickly so that Hamilton's forced back to second, but out of position when Ramirez makes the throw. So a no play. It didn't even exist if you look in the box score tomorrow. But the Brewers should have had an out. That would have been a big out.
Frazier takes a strike. A roll is Chapman getting loose in the bullpen. One of the game's dominant closers. Imperative to keep the deficit at 1 for Rodriguez. And another check on Hamilton. Hamilton will steal third.
And with the speed of Hamilton, Scooter Jeanette's forced to almost hold him on like a first baseman. And Todd Frazier, he's pretty good at rolling one over there towards second base. That's a big hole between first and second.
Frazier drove in a run in the 5th inning. He's got 2 hits tonight. He's 2 out of 4. Scored a couple of runs. Hamilton with 24 stolen bases already this year. And K-Rod scares him back to the bag.
Yeah, 24 of the 53 stolen bases that the Reds have as a team. Just about the only guy that's going to run.
There he goes. And Lucroy's throw to third is late. No chance. Stolen base number 25, and he's at third base with 1 out.
Man, no real chance to throw him out. Even with Scooter Jeanette holding him close. Takes off, and no contest at third base.
Yeah, man, got a little dirt in his eye. If you haven't been tracking the career of Billy Hamilton, he made huge news coming up through the minor leagues in the Cincinnati system. Hamilton stole 103 bases in single A in 2011. And before you think that's, you know, some kind of standard, he then the next year stole 155 bases to set the minor league record. 155 bags in a season.
How many times he get thrown out?
37.
Yeah, man, he took off just about every time he got on base, didn't he? And you look at just the caught stealing numbers, you figure he's not a very good base stealer, but that's a pretty good percentage.
Had nearly 400 stolen bases in 5 years in the minor leagues. 400 stolen bases in just a little over 500 games. Infield end, 3-1 pitch is in the dirt, and K-Rod struggling here in the ninth. 2 hits and now a walk, and now he's got to deal with Joey Votto. And the Reds threatening to open it up a little bit.
They're still in a position to get a ground ball double play.
So here is Votto, who drove in a run in the 5th. His only hit of the night. In there for a strike. Votto's always swung the bat well here at Miller Park. A .320 lifetime hitter in this ballpark. There goes Frazier, and Hamilton fouls it back.
Yeah, Frazier has 6 stolen bases. So mentioned that Billy Hamilton's the only guy that's going to steal. Frazier, another guy that might run once in a while. He's 6 for 8. And with the way K-Rod, has that high leg kick, he becomes a guy that you can run on. And the Brewers are going to, or the Reds are going to take advantage of that in this inning.
Oh, and 2 the count on Votto. Brewers had Hamilton picked off at second. He escaped. He's at third. Frazier at first. And the 0-2. Votto bounces one foul. Kids are having a tough time over there. Let the grown-ups handle it. Reds have taken the lead. Hamilton with an RBI single after a leadoff hit by Cozart. Frazier goes, and a bouncer to first. Hamilton started, then stopped, and Reynolds shuffles his way back to the bag.
That's about as good as you can play that one right there by Mark Reynolds. I'm surprised that Hamilton didn't go right away. Wasn't hit all that hard, and Reynolds did exactly what he had to do. Keep your eye on Hamilton, and then shuffle your way back, be ready to throw at any second, and he gets the out at first.
Frazier ends up at second. Heads up play by Reynolds. With every hop, he kept himself in a throwing position,
Yeah,
right?
that's what you had to do there, because you turn your back and go to first. Hamilton's on his way to home plate.
Here's Brandon Phillips. Second and third, 2 outs. Reds on top now, 6-5. And a little lazy pop up out to Jeanette. K-Rod will get out of the inning, but Cincinnati scores. And here comes Aroldis Chapman, bottom of the ninth. Yes, sir. Euphoria earlier tonight, but the Reds have taken a little bit of that sting out because they have taken the lead. A run in the 9th. And now Aroldis Chapman is on to pitch. The Brewers will have the top of their order coming up. Chapman with great numbers since coming back from the disabled list. 10 out of 11 in save opportunities.
Yeah, picked up a save on, it was actually yesterday in a 4-1 win. Pitched an inning to get the save and struck out all 3 outs. And he did give up a base hit. Chapman, about as good as it gets, can hit 100 miles an hour from time to time. They say he's developed a changeup to go along with the slider.
Gene Segura will pinch hit for Scooter Gennett. Chapman has 1 blown save this year that came on the road against Washington. That was on May 19th. But has a string of 8 consecutive saves. Chapman blew a save here at Miller Park last year. Jonathan Lucroy hit a walk-off home run against him. First offering at 97. He's got plenty more.
And Chapman's got an opponent batting average of 104. Doesn't give up many hits, let alone give up many runs.
That one's in there for a strike. Chapman has been an all-star the last 2 years. He made his big league debut against Milwaukee back in 2010. Two balls and a strike.
Might have been that changeup right there. 88 miles an hour. Didn't have much of a break on it.
Brewers down a run. The 2-1. Segura takes strike 2. Segura not in the starting lineup tonight, and asked to go face one of the premier closers in the game here in the ninth, trying to get something going. Ryan Braun coming up next. And Segura goes. Can't check his swing, and it's a strikeout.
And that one was 100 miles an hour. Triple digits for Chapman. Probably won't be the last time you see that tonight.
And definitely a swing. Here's Ryan Braun. Been a tough night for Braun. Has not looked himself tonight. He struck out twice, chased a couple of pitches out of the strike zone. 0 for 3. Braun standing off the plate a little bit against Chapman. Yeah. Was that the change up there? That was.
Do it again. 87 miles an hour, and boy, develops another pitch as though he needed one. Fastball slider was good enough.
Chapman was a starter in his brief minor league stay and used the changeup there as Braun bounces to short. Cozart gobbles it up. And a low throw, but Votto scoops it out for the second out of the inning. And the Brewers down to their last out. Nice play by Votto. That was close. Any bobble and Braun's going to reach. Good scoop on the short hop.
Yep, it was yeah, relatively easy hop, one of those in between hops, but Votto able to handle it nicely.
So here is Lucroy. Has faced Aroldis Chapman 7 times in his career, has 1 homer. And that one buzzes the tower. Lucroy spins out. Lucroy's home run against Chapman last year. Ooh, that didn't miss him by much.
Yeah, Chapman remembering that home run apparently.
That was a walk-off homer here at Miller Park. Other than that, Chapman has struck him out 6 times.
And he goes with a changeup. He's thrown a lot of them. For a guy that's just developed it, he's got a lot of confidence in it. I don't ever remember seeing Aroldis Chapman throwing changeups.
Maybe a little easier on the arm than the slider. And
yeah.
Slider would get him in trouble. It was a slider that Lucroy hit out last year. That walk-off homer. Tried another one. 2 balls and a strike on Lucroy.
That's how good that pitch is. Even with a guy that has 100 miles an hour in his hip pocket, he goes to the changeup, back-to-back pitches.
Chapman's year began in spring training, taking a wicked line drive off the head. There's the fastball at 100, 2-2 the count.
Yep. Triple digits.
Brewers down to their last strike. And the 2-2 pitch. Lucroy able to check his swing, which is impressive in its own. And now the count goes full.
Man, how about a walk and a home run here?
Full count. They're on their feet. Lucroy fouls it off. Not much time to make up your mind to swing or not at 100 miles an hour.
This is the kind of at bat Lucroy had last year when he hit the home run.
I want to say it was a 9-pitch at bat.
Yeah.
Finally got a slider and he hit it out. Pulled it. Chapman hasn't thrown a slider tonight. The 3-2. Lucroy spoils another one. Just shortening up that stroke, trying to punch one in play.
Yeah, play Pepper with him. Why not? You don't have to overswing to hit one hard against Chapman. Just put the barrel on it.
We'll do it again. Another 3-2 offering from Chapman. And Lucroy strikes out, and the ball game is over. Cincinnati wins the opener of this 3-game series. It was a good comeback by the Crew, but they come up short as the Reds score off K-Rod in the 9th and win it 6-5. Makes a winner out of Jonathan Broxton. Chapman saved number 11. With 1 home run hit tonight, $6,500 raised for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by visiting homerunchallenge.org. Well, stay tuned now. Brewers Live coming up after the break. We'll check in with Craig and Davey as the Reds win it tonight with a run of the 9th.